This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by Donald Negus. Thanks, Donald.
Hello, friends, and welcome to An Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez.
And I'm Lane.
And we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amanda.
Yes, this week we are traveling back to our gardener in mourning, Samwise the bereaved. As he decides what to do with the time that is given to him. You really put some trippy words in there.
I think you're reading a little sideways because you're seeing double. Why are you seeing double?
I'm seeing double because I got a couple Smith boys here in front of me, and it's
two Smith women too. Actually,
It's true.
you're outnumbered.
I am way outnumbered
time,
right
big
now.
time.
A lot of Smith
Add
going
the
on
kids
here.
in, and we've got
Oh my gosh,
start of an army.
What in the world? Yeah,
Six Smith. Sounds like a band name.
Yeah,
Six Smith.
six
Yes.
Smiths.
relevant.
Well, yeah, there might even be more than that.
Wait, 7. Yeah,
Crazy.
I forgot that. Sarah's pregnant.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is awesome. So we've got Luke here with us, cousin Luke.
Hello, yeah.
My cousin Luke, my secret brother. I was
Secret
about
brother.
to tell you
Yes.
that
Yeah.
in my phone he is listed as secret, first name secret, second name or last name. Yeah, that's what it's called, last name in America.
Yeah.
Second name in England or something.
Right.
Brother.
Okay.
And in
Secret
my phone,
brother.
Lane is listed as brother first name, Lane last name.
Of the Franciscan order.
Right,
Right.
and
Yeah.
because I don't know why I put him in as like
It's just
basically a monk.
flip-flopped. Yeah.
So, but it's cool.
I like being monkly.
So can I start calling him
Monkly
Brother Lane?
man
Monk
with the beard.
monkly.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
brother, yeah.
Brother Lane.
Yes.
So this is pretty
Right.
epic. Yeah. So we had wanted to have Luke on for a long time, and asked him how long we've been talking about this for, like almost
A while
year,
since you
it
started the
feels like.
project, I think.
Yeah, and I was like,
you've-
let me know if you ever want to come on. And
Yeah.
then I bugged you a little bit more, and I
Mhm.
said, pick a chapter from Return of the King.
Mhm.
I want to say we started this specific conversation like months ago, like beginning of the summer.
Yeah,
Because
that
our
sounds about
schedule
right.
changed a little bit, and we
Yeah.
were originally supposed to be, this was going to happen before
In the
LDP
prom.
2.
It was going before the
Yeah,
party.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool, dude. Yeah, you like that chapter? And he said, I love that chapter.
Yeah, I think that when you texted me about that, he had asked me for like some different ideas
Right.
of chapters that I like, and I said I think the first chapter that's just, I couldn't remember the name, but the first chapter that's just Frodo and Sam in The Return of the King. There's so much anticipation.
Yeah.
I was just telling Lane earlier when I was rereading the books a couple years ago in the summer, I was like speed reading through the first half of Return of the King because I wanted to get to the continuation of Frodo and Sam.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow, that
And
is.
so
yes.
it's cool because like it actually lined up pretty well for us coming here. So
See, that's cool because I mean, at one point during Two Towers, I was sort of like, oh my god, I was
You were ready to get back to
burdened down. I
Yeah.
mean, my boy's Gandalf, but the ring was so heavy on me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's nice to have somebody to come in and start us off,
he's
with a
fired
good
up.
jolt. And
he's definitely fired up.
He's
Yeah.
been texting me all week. He said he stayed up past midnight Wednesday
on
night
a
this
school
week.
night.
On a school, which is for a teacher. That's
that's
dedication.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's ready. I shared the doc with him, and he said, "Hey, do I read everything in there?" I said, "Exactly word for word, Luke."
And then I did it. Yeah,
And he did.
I was like, I don't know.
So I know. I feel. I
haven't heard a
So-
goofy intro yet.
Well,
But I
and
guess
he-
that's why.
And the reason I do that is to keep Ez on his toes,
Yes.
just to make sure he's reading the doc.
Yes.
And I didn't even think about, honestly, the ramifications, but I'm glad because we got a couple
It's
little
good,
nuggets
yes.
there, some outtakes.
Yeah.
Hidden stuff.
And
Yeah.
is scurvy irrelevant? I don't know.
I don't know. Well,
You
I
can
guess
ask
it
questions
depends.
about it.
If you have it, then it's not very irrelevant,
Absolutely.
right?
Right. It would not.
It would be very relevant,
Right. Yeah.
and probably painful. We're sitting here with my man Luke. His beautiful wife Emily is here too. They recently, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. This is so. Spoiler alert: if you like quick counsel to be quick, just hit that progression button a few times.
Yep. Skip on ahead.
and because this is really great stuff we have, and we're feeling good. We feel like talking. So,
Yeah.
they this summer went to Scotland.
Yes, we did.
Ezra next summer is going to Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I remember I had actually, because life is just nuts and I'm a butterbur, I had forgotten that you guys went until it was yesterday in the car. Sarah was like, "Do you remember they went to Scotland this summer, right?" And I'm like, "I do remember those pictures. I remember drooling." At that time, the show was scheduled to be filmed in Scotland, and
Yeah.
I was thinking, man, are they seeing locations they're going to use?
And we
Like,
did.
it looks like it.
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So I want, if you guys don't mind, tell us a little bit about your experience. Why did you go? What was your favorite place to visit? If you had to recommend, me and Sarah, for example, Ezra,
Tips.
where would you? And different, one for you, Emily, and one for you, Luke. So we get 2 places we'd have to hit up.
Okay.
And yeah, any crazy stories that happened?
Okay, well, crazy stories, I don't know about that, but I do think the number one place to visit in Scotland is to spend some time in the Isle of Skye. It's just so beautiful. And specifically the area called the Quirang is like the most otherworldly beautiful landscape I've ever seen in my life. You see mountains, oceans, lakes, these strange cliffs.
Yeah.
It's like
Wow.
this bright green. There's sheep prancing everywhere. It's
like literally.
yeah,
Wow.
it's everything all at once. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really like lush, beautiful landscape that's almost indescribable.
When you guys stayed, did you do Airbnbs? Did
Yeah.
you
The
go-
whole time.
Okay. How was that? Because we've used that in New Zealand. We used
Right,
Airbnbs
yeah.
and we loved it. How was that experience for you guys?
Totally great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sure you met some really great
so
local
hospitable.
Scots too. Yeah.
I mean, really, and I would say the lowlands of Scotland, like when you are just getting to some of the, and I know maybe it is still the Highlands, but when you're in the southern part of the country,
the Lower Highlands.
it
yeah.
feels like the Shire. I mean, it really
Yeah.
does feel like, and not just the landscape, but also the friendliness of so many people. We stayed with this. This was more like where Ben Nevis is, actually, where the tallest mountain in Scotland was. But this woman that we stayed with at an Airbnb was so kind and like accommodating. We were going to hike up the mountain the next day, and she was like, let me lend you my poles. Like,
Oh, wow.
gave us all these local tips. I mean, it was really like, you can kind of understand how Tolkien was probably really influenced by, and not just Scottish, but probably like Welsh and different regions of the Great Britain, Great Britain,
kind
UK,
of the
UK.
Celtic culture
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And you said the weather you guys went in the summertime, and you said the weather was like kind of like the day we're having today.
Oh yeah, dreary.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool and gray
Yeah.
and
Really?
yeah.
Stereotypical Scottish
Absolutely.
weather.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
I would think that'd be really moody, exciting.
very moody.
You want to get
Yeah.
out and hit the trails and
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
it never
yeah.
really. I mean, we did. There was the day actually that we hiked up Ben Nevis, and people hyped it. You kind of see some pictures online. It's like, man, this beautiful view. It
Was it
was
so foggy you couldn't?
so foggy you can see, and it was like I felt really bad. I'm kind of like your dad, where I was like, okay, we're almost at the top. We're gonna finish this.
Yeah.
And we were passing all these guys, and Emily was like, "I'm done. I want to go turn around." And I was like, It's only
was
like a
sad.
half mile." And these guys be like, "Oh, you're just gonna want to finish because you want the experience." And still to this day, I'm like, "I'm glad we finished." And she's like,
I'm still not.
"Yeah." So yeah, that was the.
It was the most anticlimactic
grueling.
mountain
Really?
summit I have ever experienced.
Yeah.
And
So-
is that where you found the beauty though? Because it was anticlimactic. or?
I didn't find. I'll be honest with you. I did not find beauty in Ben Nevis
Sure.
that day.
Sure.
It was only turmoil and strife. It was like hiking.
Is that the one that you showed me
in the
that kinda
misty
looked like
mountains
Mount
through the
Doom?
pass? What is the pass called? Where they
Caradhras.
Yeah, Caradhras. It was like so toilsome, and it's funny because we did the tourist path. We were joking like, oh, it's gonna be fine. Like we've hiked so many things. We've been to Colorado, but it was rough. It was so hard.
Yeah.
And
What's the altitude like there too?
It actually
Is
isn't
it
that bad.
not
It's
that
like it's
bad?
kind of like the
Okay.
Smokies here.
Oh, okay.
A little
All
bit
right.
higher,
I think
little
it was
higher.
maybe 7,000 or something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
8,000.
Slightly higher than
Yeah,
like
so
the
Colorado
highest
would
peak
have
in
been
the
way
East Coast.
different. Yeah, you would been okay.
More altitude,
Yeah.
Yes,
for
right,
sure.
Right.
Which is why we thought, oh, we're
Yeah,
fine.
no problem. That's what I was thinking.
And we did longer mileage sometimes in Colorado, but still, this was just the rockiness of the terrain and also the day. It was just
Yeah.
cold and rainy.
Yeah.
and it's mountain weather,
Yeah.
So that was a low point for me. But I'm still glad that I hiked up. And again, Emily's still not, but that's okay. We can still have some differences and still be unified. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes you stronger. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
I would say my highlight from the trip.
Yeah.
So we actually after this, after that hike that we did, and I loved the Isle of Skye. We did all that before, and then we hiked Ben Nevis, and then after that, we started doing a walk on something called the John Muir Way, which John Muir is actually he was an American
Right.
naturalist.
Pacific trail.
Yeah, Pacific
Yeah, the
Northwest
PCT.
and the PCT trail. Yeah, that was all. I mean, influenced by him. And national parks actually kind of came from John Muir. And
So he
his
messed
work
around
with
in
some
Scotland
presidents.
too, huh?
He was born
He's
there.
Scottish.
Wow.
And so he has there's a trail called the John Muir Way.
Okay.
And so we walked. We were planning on walking across half the country that way, but we only walked a few days. But even just, and I can't even remember the first town that we hiked into. It was the day after one of our hikes up the mountain, and it was like you would walk through this like these pine trees that were like wooded and like it felt like the Fangorn Forest, like it felt just super dense,
Dark,
and then
spooky.
and then it opens up into the
Misty.
town where you're about to stay, and it's like this old Scottish village, and it's like you can see it in the valley, and you're like walking down, and you're like, that's where I'm staying tonight. I'm going to an inn tonight. It was actually on the way into the town on Loch Lomond.
Yeah.
And it was that town. I can't even remember the name of the town now. That's crazy how travel is.
Sure,
like you
it is,
can't even.
It's
there's so much that you do.
Yeah.
But that was my highlight. And even we did so many things. We saw so many amazing things. But
Dude,
just
I love that
feeling like the adventure.
Yes.
If you were there, Lane, like
I was gonna say, I love that because those are my favorite moments too. When
Yeah.
you almost forget that you flew there,
Yeah.
or that you drove to a spot and hiked.
Man.
It's like no, we walked this. You know, there's something about like I don't know. Perhaps we don't do it as much anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not walking from town to town.
Yeah.
We're driving, and it's fast and it's instant, and it becomes like, oh, I gotta drive over this. But like, there's something about hiking into a place, and like you said, something about just seeing it, knowing that that's where you're gonna stay.
Yeah.
We're almost there. This trip has been awesome.
Yeah, and the cool thing about those hikes, we were planning on just walking from town to town, only walking.
Holy cow!
And
wow.
I mean, people who, if you have listeners that do long trail hiking and things, this is like no news to them. But people who don't hike very much, like there's something special about just walking from one destination to another, and just discovering things, and not taking any other kinds of transportation.
Yeah.
And we did end up, because of our legs being completely destroyed from the Ben Nevis, we decided to take some trains a few of the days.
Oh, that's
but we
cool,
did
though.
walk.
You weren't driving; you were taking a train.
Yeah,
That's
still
awesome.
we're able to use some public transport, but yeah, just the feeling of like walking in from destination to destination and feeling like you're doing something that's been done for centuries that isn't,
there's something ancient
Yeah,
to
it's
it, for
decompressing
sure.
about it. So
Yeah. Wow.
so that was my favorite.
Okay. Wow. So I want to go to Scotland right now.
Yeah, you definitely. And
Everyone
speaking
should
of,
do it.
Yeah.
Had you guys always wanted to go, or was it kind of a spur of the moment thing?
yeah, why did we
or-
go? I think that it was your idea, Emily. Right?
Was it?
I don't see.
I don't
think that-
remember whose idea.
I think that what happened is we have seen different like travel blogs or something of like pictures of the Isle of Skye specifically.
Okay.
Excuse me, coffee. But then we like we've seen so many different amazing pictures of the landscape, and we're like, we love the outdoors and nature.
Yeah.
And we just decided to try to plan a trip. The nice thing about it too is that everybody speaks English, obviously.
Yeah.
People are super accommodating to American tourists. And so we decided, why not go to Scotland? And then the cool thing is, actually, the cool thing about you having us on and asking us questions about it is that I couldn't stop. I mean, there were times that I even like referenced, like, this feels like The Lord of the Rings. Like, this feels like, and it's obvious that Tolkien was like inspired by this kind of landscape, as we've discussed. You know, and
that was like his wild. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you go up north and it's more rugged, and it's where a lot of the mountains are. And
I've never read any Tolkien bios or anything, but I imagine he probably spent some time there, right?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
would think so. Yeah, I don't know for sure either, but I mean, he would. Yes.
It would inspire
he
his
would have had to
culture.
have known. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So
That's amazing.
I think we decided to go because we had heard of the John Muir Way, and we wanted
that's
to do
what it was.
that.
That's it.
And
Okay.
then we also had some friends that had spent some time in the Isle of Skye, and they told us about their trip and said it was amazing. So between
Right.
their report and the things we had heard about the John Muir Way, we were like, we just have to do it. This
Yeah.
is
So
the
glad we went,
obvious
too.
choice.
Yep.
Yeah,
So Emily, I know that you like Narnia.
I
Do you like Lord of the Rings? What is your?
True confession, I've never read Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit
Okay.
in the 5th grade.
Okay, that
and,
counts.
Yeah,
um,
okay.
Me too. That's
I
why
felt bored by a really long chapter about a spider web. It was really long.
Hey, you want to hear something? I've never finished The Hobbit.
Well, I
Never
finished
finished
it,
so
but
shocked.
yeah, so I think I should try
That's good.
again as an adult.
Do you like the
but-
movies, the stories?
I do, yeah, I like the
Do
movies,
you have
I
a
like the
favorite
stories.
of the three?
Probably the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Why? Why do you like that one the best?
I think I like the beginning of the story, the introduction to the characters. Some of the later ones, I think there's like a little bit too much I don't know, just like blood and gore and battle
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I get a little like bored during all of that.
Yeah.
But I think the first one is the most personal in terms
I
of
agree. Yep, I agree with
the
that.
characters,
Same.
the relationships. It's very sweet.
Get to spend some time in the Shire too. And
Yeah,
like you
it's
said, meeting
beautiful.
all the
Yeah.
characters is a different kind of different feel.
I feel like since we were kids, we've always liked the first one best, right, Lane? Like, isn't that the first movie? Like, I feel like we've always talked about
absolutely,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean, how long can we? Just
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
could just keep-
we're gonna have to go
it's-
down memory lane here, or memory loop.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's-
That's
wow.
one of the two.
Jiminy.
You know, our names are only different by 2 letters.
So cool.
UK or AN. Wow. Anouk. Or
Also relevant with the
Ucan.
UK. United
Secret
Kingdom.
Brothers
Exactly.
over here. Secret
Scotland may
Brothers.
not be a part of it. Britain soon. We'll see. Not to get political, but anyhow.
That's funny.
But yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
sure that that's really cool because we have uppers in the UK,
That's
and we
awesome.
have some up north near Scotland. We have some central and some down in the south, and
Yeah.
I think we even have some uppers in Ireland too. So it's
Yes,
just,
we do,
I'm
yes.
sure it's cool to hear you guys talk about Scotland and what could be there right in their backyard. Which is-
Absolutely.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So it's definitely appreciated by you guys. I'm sure Ezra's going to get lost out there when he goes.
I
and
can't wait. Emily was
Smith
going to be
family's
great
gonna have to
advice.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
It's-
Isle of Skye is something we wanted to go see. I'm
Definitely.
stoked now. I
Yeah.
can't wait to tell my dad. Like, yeah, people have
It's gonna be
confirmed
such
it's
a cool
awesome.
trip for you. I'm telling you, man. Like, I wish I could invade that trip without
Yeah.
invading it. You know what I mean?
I'm
Because
gonna
just seeing
record.
you and your dad. I don't know,
Oh,
and then you're
it's-
both Scottish. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
oh, yeah.
Kirks.
Yeah,
You know,
we're
you're the
gonna
men
have-
of the church, and it's going to be cool for you to go there.
He's
That's
researching
cool.
places he thinks we should go see that might be significant to our
It's your
family.
family
Absolutely.
history,
Yeah.
man. I mean, and
And
that's
I'm like,
the
all right.
Kirk. The Kirk surname. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I did a little research, man. It's crazy because no one knows where it came from.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You are a
Right.
real wizard.
Yeah, I know.
Like
it's,
no
it's a
one
little
knows
wild.
where it doesn't necessarily mean that they were Scots who were involved with the church, unless I'm mistaken. There, someone can fact check me. But I think it's one of those surnames that came from nobody knows where,
Right.
and the people came from.
You look at all the other names that
specifically
kind
they're like kind of landlocked in one area where the Kirks come from.
Yeah.
They spread out from there, but like other Scottish names are all throughout because the hills
Right,
and everything. They're
right.
all spread out, but yours was kind of.
Yeah, Dad noticed that the other day. He was looking through stuff, and he's stoked.
It's kind
to
of
go.
like an unknown,
It's great.
mysterious.
I love it. It's awesome. Must be nice
That
to be
makes
me.
sense. That makes sense.
You're gonna love the summer. It's gonna be incredible.
Good. Yeah. Did you guys go in like June or July or what?
June.
June. Okay. We're thinking about July, but yeah. So I think I'll still be.
Yeah, I think it'll be great whenever
Yeah.
you go.
I think
Yeah.
the weather will be the same all
the weather
the time.
will likely
Really?
be the same.
Okay.
You'll
That's
probably
fine.
have a little bit more people that you run into in July.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
don't go
that's
late July. Like last 3 days of July, I've heard are terrible.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm serious.
No, that's fine.
I'm joking.
Yeah, you would know. Yeah. Okay. So here we go.
We're gonna.
gonna-
How are
yeah.
you, by the way? Are you good?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm
I feel
fine.
like
Yeah.
we haven't talked about Ezra.
No, this is great. This is great. I said that's why I said at the beginning of this. I got a couple there's just Smiths in the house. All right, so this is great. I'm fine.
Charlotte's even over there. You see.
Yeah, Charlotte's here now.
so cute, man.
This is awesome. She's looking around like, what is happening?
First time she's not staring at Emily, which is she's looking at Luke.
Aw.
I am Luke now. Yeah.
So yeah, but
But life's good.
Yeah, we're recording midday too, which is a
Yeah.
little different for us, which
Nice,
is
isn't it?
nice, very nice.
It is.
Yeah,
nice.
thanks for accommodating her.
Oh, of course.
Oh
man.
no, this
Of
is
course.
actually this is great.
I think we perform better during the day,
Yeah, we probably do.
which means most of our episodes are trash.
Sometimes I mean it is like literally super late.
Well, you're fine, but I'm like, I don't know. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah. No, it's good. All is well. We're about to. We got next week is exams for me, so it's going to be kind of a little crazy week. But then after that, holiday break. So
The way the holiday break lays out is really nice because we don't go back until like the 6th.
Same.
It's
Same.
like right up to a couple days before
Perfect.
Christmas, but then it's a good. It's always terrible when terrible people who don't get a break are gonna be like shit.
please, guys, stop.
But like when
yeah.
you go back to second or third, you're still kind of
Oh yeah.
not hungover, but whether you're drinking on New Year's or not, you've got the holiday hangover, and you're like,
Yep.
we have to go back already.
Right,
So it's nice
right.
to go back a little bit later. But yeah,
Yeah, agreed.
yeah,
so
man.
I'm good. You're well.
Life's good, dude.
You good?
I'm amped to be here. It's awesome having Luke and Emily here, and there's some really good stuff actually coming out about the show. We've
Right.
got some clarity here, so if you want to get into dropping eaves, we can.
Yes, let's do it.
We'll have tons of time to go down memory Luke and Lane here for his Tolkien story because he's going to say stuff that
Yep.
I'm probably going to interject a bunch.
Oh, we're gonna be.
If I interject all over
bounce
the place,
back
is
and
that
forth.
okay?
That's dude. Yeah, please do. Because I was trying to write things down. And like I was telling you, there's so many things that were in my head.
I think
the
you
other night
got
when we think about it.
I think you have a little bit of like the same kind of thing I have, like just distractibility. Like in conversations, we get off on asides. Do you get on asides a lot?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think our listeners would agree with that. I think they're also hearing Double Smith in the house.
Oh man, they're gonna love it or hate
Sorry
it.
in
That's for sure.
advance.
No,
Exactly.
it's great.
So Amazon show news. We kind of had some this last week. We had a new actress confirmed and an actor actually have to leave.
Yeah.
So we have Emma Horvath, who was just announced. I want to say like Wednesday or Thursday. Phil Willis was the first to the group to post about her. He and Jim SP, I think, and even Kurt Jones were going back and forth on who they think she's going to be. But it's pure speculation at this point. We don't even have a solid fake character name.
Right.
So I think Phil said that she definitely looks like she could be Numenorian. So she is in. We have an actor that is out. And I'm so sad. Will Poulter, who we were theorizing might be like young Elrond, has had to step away due to scheduling conflicts.
Really? Is that what it is?
Here's my question, guys.
Yeah.
You get cast in a Lord of the Rings television show?
Yeah.
You going to have anything else come up on your schedule?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think I would be like, all right, this is my last thing because I'm not going to be able to top it. So anything else I'm working on, scrap it. I'm going all into this, but I mean, it might not mean the same thing to him.
Right.
Obviously,
Yeah,
but
it could just be.
I'm just
trying to
thinking
make his
like,
living.
right. But I'm thinking like, man, it seems like even if the product isn't what we're wanting, they're putting a lot of money into it. I would think that this would be one you'd want to be attached to.
Sad too, because he kind of looks like Elrond.
Doesn't he?
Dang.
Yeah.
And we were
speculating,
like, he's got to be young Elrond.
Yeah.
Got to be. And so anyway, he's had to step out.
Yeah.
On that note, can I just real quick? So a character who, and I heard about this in a documentary, but in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Actually, they had to shoot around some of her schedule because she was contracted to be on an HBO show.
Yeah, she said something previously,
You know what I'm saying?
so they had to work around.
So I wonder if is that what it was? You think maybe he had something?
that happened with Martin Freeman.
Oh, really?
They had to negotiate with the filmmakers of Sherlock, the TV show, so that he could do both at the same time. That goes back all the way to, I don't know if you know this, Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox filmed Family Ties during the day, Back to the Future at night.
No
Wow.
way.
Because
That's crazy.
they wanted him so bad. Actually, he was the second. He was the second actor cast as Marty. Very similar to my other hero, Viggo Mortensen, right? As Aragorn. He was the second one. They cast, can't remember the guy's name, realized he wasn't a right fit.
Sure.
Got a hold of Michael J. Fox, and the only way he could do it was if they filmed at night. So there are ways to accomplish, maybe not necessarily since it's in Auckland now, right?
Yeah,
so the sheer distance alone, he might not be able to commit to both. But
right.
man, I would, I don't know. But here
I bet it is something like that though, because you can't imagine this guy.
Oh
would
man, I can't imagine you'd want to step out of that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of devastated by that, but hey, we'll get over it. Hopefully they're finding the right actor to take his role.
Yep.
But we also have, like, from the very first announcement we had was Markella Kavanaugh. She's still in as Tyra or Tira. We've got Joseph Maul, who was in some Game of Thrones stuff.
Sure.
He's still cast as Oren. And then one that I missed back in October, this young man Maxim Baldry. Totally missed him.
Yeah.
But he's in this most recent article from Variety that it has a really good summary of all of the show news so far. So we have that link there. We might even put that in. It's actually the Will Poulter leaving was the main headline, but they go through and they detail the entire process, or the process of the show so far, and what's been going on with that. So that was really, really cool. But anyway, I had missed him, so he's in there. He also looks very Numenorian to me. Huge update that Nat Estrada alerted us of, and that was earlier this week, that J.A. Bayona, the first director, has landed in Auckland. He's been there about a week now. So and that confirms that this whole timeline has changed. So originally they were supposed to have been finishing the first chunk of filming, and we assumed that they were going to carry that over into Auckland, even though their locations changed. But that totally... obviously, them going and having to prep everything in New Zealand, make sure everything's ready, everything's built, push that back. So he's there now. Guessing they'll probably, I don't know, this is all speculation, prep up through the holiday. Come the new year, they'll film the first couple episodes, and then they'll do that break that they were talking about, since they got the season 2 already announced and secured, that they're going to film. I think how this article detailed it is they're going to film the first 2 episodes, take a look at all the footage, review everything. I don't know if they're going to try and edit it as much as they can and see where they can go, where they can take the story from then on out. So I think it's really cool how they are. They're adapting, and I love that they're doing this. They're adapting what they already had planned out so that they can move into a second season.
Wow.
It's really
that
cool.
is kind of crazy.
It's really cool. So timeline changed, but they are going to be getting started very, very soon here.
Yeah.
What are you hoping for out of the show, Luke?
I think so. I have to confess, I don't know that much about the background. Like, I've never read the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
I've and so I guess I'm just hoping to have the same kind of intrigue and mystery that the movies had.
When the films,
because for me, I don't assume or imagine that I'll get to some of the different texts that they base the show off.
Yeah.
Before, so I just hope that it has the same kind of draw. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, other than that, I think that it's just, to me, I'm not with you all. You're like keeping track of this stuff every week for the show, and so for me, I'm just kind of like, I jump in sometimes and listen to you guys talk about it, but otherwise, I'm like, I'm just kind of, I'll just be along. Yeah, exactly, along for the ride.
And there's a certain part of me too that wants to keep as much of that as possible, because we do talk about it all the time,
right?
And for the most part, months can go on where it's the same old news over and over again,
right?
We're just waiting to hear more, but there is a part of me I want to keep that just doesn't like get into speculation, doesn't want to know what's going on, because I want to experience that too. I think about the best part of the films for me were that they were my discovery into Tolkien.
Definitely, yeah.
And I kind of want this show to be the same for the Silmarillion, to kind of throw me into a whole nother aspect of his writing.
I really hope that Tolkien is honored through the show.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. Like, and I know you guys have talked about the newer movies, newer Hobbit movies. I'm not going to say that they're terrible at all. Like, I think that they're good movies. They're okay.
Yeah.
I've only seen them a few times.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to them as much as I can speak to the original movies. But there is something about the first three movies that really, I think it honors Tolkien, even though it didn't do it perfectly. I know there's issues, but I hope it's not just taking a bunch of liberties,
money grab or whatever.
And just doing like, or like even worse, like kind of the thing where you are always kind of left with cliffhangers that then lead on, like the kind of like the the Netflix equation movies, which are or like shows that are great, but like that's not Tolkien. Like that's not the same kind of thing that we're dealing with when you're dealing with his material.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I hope it's willing to draw it out and tell the longer stories.
Yeah.
And to use the show that way.
Yeah.
Rather than
and you're right. Not to build a season so that every episode is a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where I agree with you. Sometimes those shows you're like, well, what really happened in this episode?
Exactly.
Actually, it's happened a couple times with Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
That last episode, this most recent one was amazing. The one before, I was like, that was just. Was this a build-up for the next episode?
Right.
Like what did I actually see?
Yep.
And I think that Tolkien doesn't necessarily do that. Everything has even if you might not find it interesting, there's reason for what he wrote.
Right.
So something that gives me peace about that is the very first thing they tweeted was a Tolkien quote.
That's so cool.
Well, and so and it had to do with his text being like what he wrote is the basis. If all else fails, like they go back to it. You remember that? It was very exciting. So, and the two writers are huge Lord of the Rings nerds, geeks, fans. They are into it. So they, hopefully if they are, and they're also the showrunners. They're the writers and showrunners. So as long as their influence is able to take press, and then you got Tom Shippey too. Tom Shippey's involvement, who he was the biographer for Tolkien. He wrote Author of the Century.
Oh man, that's awesome.
It's a great biography. I remember reading it in high school.
I need to read that.
I got it.
Cool.
If you want to borrow it, I have it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah. He. But anyway, he's involved on behalf of the Tolkien estate to make sure that the story isn't any major parts of the story are not changed. So they can't deviate so much now. But in between, like the white spaces, they can have some liberties as to how you go from point A to point B, as long as those main points are honored and kept.
Man, that's sweet.
Yeah. So everything, I think I can speak for most of us that like everything we've seen so far has given me a lot of peace anyway. That it's going to be authentic, it's going to be genuine, and it will, at the very least, I feel like honor, because I think they also hear people's gripes about The Hobbit.
Sure. Yeah.
And how maybe it was just trying to put too much in there. I mean, I still love the movies, but I think the focus shifted from Bilbo to other things that were relevant and were going on.
Sure.
But it wasn't the same kind of vibe as the book. And so hopefully that I'm sure they're conscious of that too, and think that okay, we need to at the very least always go back to what happened in the book.
Yeah.
Let's keep that that feeling and that.
Because those other things were a mystery. They're things that he didn't.
They weren't fleshed out.
Yeah,
right?
he
wrote them other
intentionally
places.
left them out.
That's right.
Yes.
And so it's wild that like you in the Lord of the Rings
I'm glad you brought that up.
Right. I
because,
mean, I've always been baffled by that. I'm like, who? And I think that might have been a little bit why the estate was a little peeved.
and part of it,
by
part of
would
it,
say.
and part of it was too because I think Peter Jackson, in his defense, he was thinking, this is my last run at Middle Earth. These rights are going to expire as well. So it might have been the studios saying, hey, you got to fit some of this stuff in because we want to see these things. We want big battles. Who knows how much of that was going on? Them saying, you got to give us what Lord of the Rings was.
Right.
Well,
And he didn't even want to, again, in his defense, he didn't want to direct it. He wanted to write and produce and sit back. It was Guillermo del Toro who was supposed to direct these. And he had a very different vision from what even we saw. But it's just...
That would have been interesting.
It would have been. It would have been. And I love the first one is still my favorite because it's very Bilbo centric. It's very dwarven centric.
I like it. Yeah, it's good.
And I think Martin Freeman killed it. I think most of the dwarves were really. I mean, just the actors were great. And
right.
And it felt more like how the parts I've read in The Hobbit feel. And but I don't know.
I will say this. I'm going to say this to all of our listeners and everyone. If you really go back and give it a second chance around the holidays, start rewatching it. Every time I watch the Hobbit movies,
yes, they're good.
They
movies.
get better. They actually grow on me.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah,
maybe I'll try again.
I don't know why, because at first I was a little like, well, whatever. And then one time I was in a situation where there was nothing else on.
Yeah,
and that's how I'm like watching the last one, and I'm like, this is good. This is really good.
They are good.
So,
I know. And if you're able to step back and just go, okay, this is a movie. I just stop thinking so much about
I
it.
keep trying to compare it back to the original three, and it's tough.
Well, and
that's gold. That's
and that's the prequel curse, right?
Yes, it is.
If you're always comparing them to the originals, but they're supposed to be different. So I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, the show's going to be awesome. We're excited for it.
Right.
And let me see here. What else we have? Oh, in other corners of Middle Earth. Most recently, we posted a little something about one of Luke's dear good friends, Zach Little. He has an awesome. He's a jack of all trades. He's a musician. He's an artist. He's a great human being. Has an amazing mustache and beard, and
his facial hair is on point. For sure.
He can pull off those like
Really
hang
good.
down mustaches that like cover your entire
Oh
mouth.
yeah, and you can twirl it and stuff.
My gosh,
it's pretty cool.
He's incredible. So check out Zach's. He posted a picture of a ring, and I just thought, my gosh, that is so Numenorian.
Yeah,
it's like I think it's like it's supposed to be wings. Or it is wings, but it looks like a Numenorian helmet. And I just thought, man, there are some people, some uppers who would probably dig a ring like that.
Right.
He also does really cool sword pendants. If I ever, so I have different. I have one for Winnie and one for Charlotte that I wear all the time. If we have a boy, I'm going to get a sword for Vigo.
Oh wow!
And I might actually see if he could make something for if we have a girl.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's amazing. But the Etsy shop is Hero King Embellishments. Go check it out. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Also, I wanted to alert you, man, that this is really sad. Let's take a second to just sort of put this on the table. But the Treason of Isengard, the video game by Vivendi Studios, has been canceled.
Devastating.
I don't know if you heard that or not, but
I didn't.
Circa 2004, I think. So, yeah. How do you
feel? You actually look. I think you're tearing up right now.
Yeah, it's mostly. It's mostly just I didn't take my medication today, but
but thank God we had
the
you know what we had. Do you know what we had?
The shoe, bring us the shoe, bring us the shoe. Do you remember that? No, you don't remember that?
I mean,
in Khazad-dûm.
Oh yes,
in Khazad-dûm.
Yes,
it was a dwarven
do you know what we
chant,
had
but
though,
it did
Lane?
not sound like it. What do we have?
The Battle of Middle Earth. Is that what it's called? What was it called? The video game.
Yeah, Battle for
the Battle for Middle Earth. It was like the
real-time
It was
strategy.
like the Sims, the Sim City or something.
Yeah. It was like Age of Empires.
We were
remember
obsessed. That? Yes.
But I'm even thinking before that, man.
Was that
before?
That was pre-Treason of Isengard, though, wasn't it?
Well, and I'm thinking you're forgetting something, my friend. This is a game we rented. The Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh no, I'm not forgetting.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay, right.
I remember that.
I don't know why I even looked into this because I remembered how much we loved that game. We were obsessed with the game, and it was one that we were drawn to because it was based on the books, and they were trying to compete with the New Line games through EA, which were also amazing. So
yeah, they were pretty good. I liked that Lord of the Rings game though.
I loved
the Fellowship of the Ring game.
Yes,
better.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I did too because it was a little more open adventure based and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
felt a lot more like the books.
But I had forgotten that they had planned a sequel, The Treason of Isengard, and I got a link for the trailer in that document if you ever want to watch it. Okay. And man, it would have been something special. I just think we would have had so many more memories in the summer.
What kind of lives would we have lived? What would we have done?
The butterfly effect, man.
I know.
I think I would have been a better person, honestly.
I probably would have been 8 times as nerdy, which is hard.
Yeah.
To even
comprehend.
It's hard to.
Ezra, did you?
I just feel like there's a pit.
Friend of mine.
Yeah, there's a pit. Something's missing. I feel like
dude,
something.
I could tell Ezra's been like he looks like he's constipated.
Ezra,
right
do you?
Yeah, I
do you
just
like. What was your favorite Lord of the Rings video game?
Well, so that's the thing. I didn't really play a lot of them. I don't remember. So like you guys are talking about this. I'm like, where was I when the video game? Why wasn't I playing these video games? Like I don't get it. I'm looking up what you said would be the Treason of Isengard.
Yes.
I'm like, that's freaking amazing.
So the amazing thing that I remember Two Towers did was it was one of the first movie-based video games that used a lot of information, actors' voices, movie clips from the actual film. Up until that point, it was all like the either created stuff that was Star Warsy or that was based-ish Matrix-y.
Yeah, I think that's around the time that Battlefront was starting to come out, like the original ones, right?
Yep, I think so.
And those were good, but it wasn't. There was
a disconnect from the films.
You're right. There's going to be back and forth between us because there was a thing about playing those games that made you feel they weren't. It wasn't even like the gameplay was that great.
No, they were.
It was like you just felt like you were playing the movie, and you felt like you were still discovering like the Helm's Deep part was like this is so cool.
They had cool effects, like there were. There were graphics that looked like the rain was hitting the screen, so it was like you were an actual camera in Middle Earth, and the rain would, and you would get water distortion on the camera, and then the screen that would wipe off, and it was amazing. And then even like I remember the little things, like you would play certain levels, and then you would unlock interviews with the actors. No big deal, right? Except it was an exclusive interview just for that game. Right. It had like Viggo Mortensen talking about making sound effects and creating lines for the video game.
No way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they did. And then they did the same for the Return of the King video game.
Wow.
So I mean, you just nerded out.
I don't remember if I played that one, but I remember the Two Towers was incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. And the Return of the King was the only one that was on PC.
Oh.
So I never got to play those on my own because I didn't have a console. Remember that?
I think that was around the time, and that was like later in high school. And I was deeply entrenched in RuneScape at that time. So you remember those days?
Oh my gosh, that's also what we did. We played RuneScape.
It was impossible to get me away from the computer those days. So.
Oh, RuneScape like I said, was amazing.
I'm at a loss.
You don't know you love RuneScape.
No, really? Oh wow. Somebody in your community knows RuneScape.
Oh, they have to. I'm sure there's going to be an entire thread.
There are people who are
RuneScape.
like, I'm level 86. And then there are some people like, that's it. Like, come meet me in the wilderness, bro.
I remember you
bring your Addy longsword.
You used to meet up with Zach.
Oh yeah,
and Steve.
We would hang out and just play RuneScape together.
Oh man,
that was like early, like that was before like LAN parties and stuff. But like we were starting stuff like that was like that. Oh my god, that was where like we would call each other while we were playing.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Did you ever get into this? It's like the geekiest way to do multiplayer. Is what it was.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly before like headsets.
You're not like playing Call of Duty. It's like, hey, did you discover the gold deposit back there? It's actually kind of like pre-Minecraft.
Definitely,
in a way.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Because
there's like you influence the world, and it's
and it was very like 8-bit too, wasn't it?
The original one, there was old school, and then they updated it and stuff, but. Then we started playing music.
Yeah, right.
Changed. We still played though.
Did you ever play Middle Earth Online though?
I got it and I had it for about a year. And I thought it was all right.
So here's the cool thing: they're actually updating that.
Oh yeah,
and gonna try to sync it up and pair it with the release of the TV show.
Oh wow!
They're gonna do a massive, and we've had a few a few uppers in the group share about that, but it's gonna be this massive.
Wow, that sounds cool. And there's some I do not game anymore at all. Like I play sometimes sports games and different things with friends, but like that's the kind of thing that I'm like. And there are some times that I'll see like. Obviously, oh gosh, this is really embarrassing. Skyrim and games like Bethesda makes and things that I'm like, well, I should. Right. If I start playing this, I will lose my life.
Yeah, it was like, why wasn't that around when we were kids?
Right. But then, yeah,
Like we were just a few years too early. We were born,
yeah.
I don't know though, because like
Or
this,
we've gotten sucked in.
like this RuneScape thing. I'm
think
looking
I
at this, and I'm like,
Do you remember that?
Because now there's this age of with my students that like wanting to go back and discover these
Sure.
obscure kind of
Definitely.
like wow, like they almost feel cool because they know about.
Oh, yeah.
and
You could
it's
probably
like,
get RuneScape on your phone now, couldn't you?
You can actually. You can get the RuneScape Classic on your phone. I think you can. Somebody told me that, and I was like, I'm not. See, I already have a problem with the screen and just like feeling like I can't put my phone down.
Sure,
so I'm
sure.
like, I'm not getting it. But
Yep.
like, I totally. For people who have some more time on their hands, maybe they don't have full-time jobs. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Dude, that's so funny because shout out to Mark Redenauer. Mark Redenauer showed me Middle Earth Online. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. They had just had their son Carson, he and Mary, and we were out there in New Mexico visiting him. He's like, dude, have you ever seen Middle Earth Online? I'm like, no.
How did I not tell you about that?
I said I know about it. Well, I knew about it, but I didn't understand
played some.
online video games.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, like we didn't. I mean, even now we don't have the best internet, so it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
But he was like showing me around all these different, and you do a lot of key coding too, where you hit in certain keys and it will do stuff. And
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, I can't play this because it would take every minute of my life, and
That's
I have
right.
a son now, and I was like.
It just
So you're telling
changes-
me and Sarah we had just told them that we
Yeah.
were pregnant with Winnie, and I was like, so you're telling me I shouldn't even look into it? He's like, I wouldn't if I was.
No.
It was
Right,
it's like
Well,
a drug or
because
something.
yeah.
Like,
And and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I'm going to. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's
fine.
I
You're
listen to the
coming to the
show a
right
lot,
place.
and
Yeah.
so I
Yep.
know that you do this too,
Yes.
Wayne.
So this is an
So
aside.
to listeners, this is an aside. But I think that the reason that I stopped playing as many video games and started putting my phone down more is because I want to read.
yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I think
okay.
that there's value
Let's go.
in
Wow.
in reading that a video game can get you to, but
Yeah.
it can't quite take you to the level that a good book can.
Yeah.
Maybe it's almost a form of imitation a little bit too, right?
That's right.
Like
Absolutely.
like maybe those video games are pursuits of this is what you love about books.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's not everything.
And when you only play games and you don't read, I think you miss out on
Sure.
the bigger picture of what's going on. And
Sure.
it's entertainment, but when you read literature or books, I think that there's growth that happens in ways
Oh
that
yeah,
are
totally.
like in different ways. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
Anyways.
Wow. That was a good aside. I'll take that
you.
one. I'll
Love
take
it.
that one. All right, we into the chapter yet?
I think so.
I'm sorry. I
Let's see.
apologize.
That's pretty good. That's actually not bad.
Not bad
I
time?
thought we were going to be much longer. I thought we were going to be at the 2-hour mark, and Lane was going to say, I think it's about time we start the chat.
No, we can't. The thing is, I think we're both trying to be cognizant of like
I
we
know.
can talk, and there's still a section for this.
Yeah, there is.
So
There is.
oh
We'll
my
get into that a
gosh.
little bit more.
I gotta
Yes.
come back. I gotta come back.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
This
you
is
do.
amazing.
This is so much fun. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so let's get into this chapter as this is kind of unique because we're actually beginning our last book officially.
Wow.
We talked about Lord of the Rings isn't one. It's one story, but it's told over 3 parts and 6 books. So we just finished up the 5th book. We're at a cliffhanger at the Black Gate. Does Baragon die? I don't know, Phil.
I don't know, Phil.
You know what? Spoiler alert, bro. How about we get a little
please
little
tag that.
warning there, man? I've
Please
never
tag
read
that.
these before. I don't know what's going on. Just kidding. We love you, Phil. That's why Phil is there to fill us in. So they were just at the Black Gate, and then we do this time jump like we've done before. We're going back to our previous thread of story where we're with the ring bearer. Actually, we're with Sam because where we left off last.
Well, but you're right in that, yeah.
Yeah, we were forced. We came to this crossroads of the choices of Master Samwise Gamgee, and he had to decide what was he going to do. He was in quite a pickle. He thought Frodo was dead, only to find out he was still alive, and now he's taken by the orcs to the Tower of Cirith Ungol, and he's got the ring and this burden, and what is he going to do?
Yeah.
And so, and then we left them and went to our company and their storyline through all the battles and the more the macro, and now we're back to the micro again with Frodo and Sam, now officially in Mordor, and how their introduction is a rough one.
Yeah, he steps in this chapter for the first time.
He does. And I love that moment too because
Me too.
they talk about, or he talks about how cognizant he is of it,
Yeah.
and how he realizes once I go in, there's no coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't just like hop in and out of Mordor. Like this is I'm in, and I might never leave. I might die here. I've never had that. I thought about that. I'm like, this is a real emotion that we know Tolkien had.
Yes.
This has got to go to World War I, man.
Oh,
where he's
man.
like, I step over this front line,
That's right.
I might never come back.
That's right.
Yep.
Death is as real of a possibility as me cutting my toenails.
Yep.
And I've never experienced that. I can't imagine what kind of an emotion that is. So people in armed forces, I'm sure, have a much more palatable relationship with this emotion, this feeling of imminent death. But I cannot imagine.
No.
Yeah, can I interject just for a second?
Interject all you want.
So I think that what I love about this is he is building this foreboding, which you know obviously is, if you're an English teacher, you know about all these literary elements that he uses, and he has built this for this chapter. He's gone all the way back in the Two Towers. I was reading the Forbidden Pool.
You did
a few
your
days
homework,
ago.
baby. Holy cow! You went all the way back.
Well, when the first reference of Cirith Ungol was by Faramir.
Oh my gosh!
And
yeah.
he
in a
is
safe
having
place,
this conversation
in a safe place
with Gollum, and Gollum won't say the name. And he's like, "Why won't you say the name?" And he's like, "Tell him what it's called." And he's like, "Can I read this section of the book?"
Yes.
So he says, "This is in the Forbidden Pool, the conversation between Faramir and Frodo after they talked to Gollum and kind of interviewed him." And he's like, "Where are you going?" And he says, "I don't know clearly, but the path climbs, I think, up to the mountains on the northern side of that vale where the old city stands. It goes up in the high cleft and so down to that which is beyond." "Do you know the name of that high pass?" said Faramir. "No," said Frodo. So again, there's this, and then he says, "It is called Cirith Ungol." Gollum hissed sharply and began muttering to himself. "Is not that its name?" said Faramir, turning to him. "No," says Gollum, and then he squealed as if something had stabbed him. Yes, we heard the name once, but what does the name matter to us? Master says he must get in, so we must try some way. There's no other way to try. No." And then, so you have this foreboding in this building about Cirith Ungol for chapters and chapters. And then you have the stairs of Cirith Ungol, when that whole chapter is them going up this treacherous stairs. And like literally there's darkness and deeper darkness throughout that chapter. And you're
pinned in with Minas Morgul.
And I think that's the
too.
chapter where the very end is like this. That you're like, Tolkien, you're killing us. You're making me so sad. And at the very end, he sees the Númenórean king crown and the crown of flowers.
Yeah.
And then you have a little bit of glimpse of light. And so you always have a little tiny glimpse of light. But really, when it comes to Cirith Ungol, this is like the darkest that Tolkien. Mount Doom is dark. Yeah. But this is like, this is as dark as it gets. And so then. That's why I was telling you over the phone, or texting over the phone. The thing that you do where you type letters. When I was texting Lane, and I was saying, I love it because there's so much buildup to this moment. Yeah. And you're like, what's going to happen? And then I think, to bring it full circle with what you're saying about the war, anybody can relate to this. When I have a concert at school, I'm a music teacher. Yeah. I think, oh man, there's so many things that I have to do, and like, you're like, it could go so many ways. If you allow you can allow your thoughts to take it to a dark point.
That's very true.
And especially though, if it were war or something really terrible or terrifying,
where it's more of a mortal danger, like you could lose your life.
Yes.
And
so he's like, this moment of him stepping into Mordor, and specifically the foreshadowing with Cirith Ungol is so deep. Yeah. And again, you were saying earlier about actually before we started recording the podcast about the character development that C.S. Lewis would do. Mm-hmm. I think Tolkien does this with places and with.
Oh my gosh! Yes. Yeah. Well, and there's been an argument for not really an argument, just the concept and idea for a long time that Middle Earth is a character.
Yes,
it is a character. So these places have so much packed into them, and then even when he talks about, I know this is getting ahead here. I have two thoughts.
This
is great. Please keep going.
I almost just took a selfie there for what?
This is fantastic. This is literally fantastic.
We've never done this before.
Luke brought the energy, and it's epic. Yeah. So
I don't want to ever forget this. So this is great. I almost just lost him right there. No, but we talk about hope and how that hope, there's a glimmer there. When they see little glimmers. There's a phrase I can't remember. I think I have it underlined in here. I'll try to find it as we're reading through the chapter. But Sam talks about a type of hope that is like minuscule, and the way Tolkien words it, I'm just like, that's perfect, and it's enough.
Yep.
Somehow, just a little bit. And my favorite quote from the films, anyway, doesn't happen in the books, but is at Helm's Deep. You've got the boy despairing. He says, "They say we won't live out the night," and Aragorn takes a sword and says, "This is a good sword, Halasonahama." there is always hope.
Yeah.
There is always hope, and that I think it all boils down to that. I've had discussion with teachers lately where it's like, is there a point? Mm-hmm. Is it really savable?
Yeah.
And I think his words, WW80, it always rings in my head. There is always hope.
Yep.
There's an ancient proverb. I don't even know what culture it's from, but as long as there is breath, there is life. Right? So, and I think that as long as there is breath, there is hope. And so it's his commentary on like, I don't know. Like, is doomed really doomed? When is doomed really doomed? Like, is there always hope? And then also just thinking about, you're talking about the places being a character as well, about how Cirith Ungol, there's a huge debate as to which two towers, it actually is.
Right. And
there's some people who believe it is Cirith Ungol, and Minas Morgul.
Right.
Some people think it's Minas Morgul and Minas Tirith. Some people think it's, the movie obviously alluded to Orthanc and Barad-dûr being the two towers. But anyway, no one really knows. He never specified which two towers it is. And I think that's also kind of interesting.
Beautiful.
It's ambiguous.
It's amazing.
But the fact that Cirith Ungol, that Sam notices, he's like, wait, this was a place that wasn't designed to keep people out.
Right.
It was to keep Mordor pinned in.
Section.
Like, and just how that recurring theme of we even see it here when they're talking about food and water. It's Sauron's ability to distort and to defile, and not only with orcs, he didn't give them life. He just distorted their life.
Right.
He didn't make this tower. He distorted this tower. He perverted it. He changed it. And how that is the saddest thing, because it implies that he has the power to take something. And I'm hoping we get this massively explored in the show.
Yeah.
With his rise and his
Absolutely.
duality of Anatar and Sauron, his angelic form and his more corrupt, powerful side of just his ability to take something good, and through lies, even the lies that Sam has with the ring, right? Where he's like, and then how his Hobbit sense is able to go, I know that's not true.
Right, it's not right.
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
His wisdom.
Yeah.
Wow.
So okay, I honestly think
you guys want to be done
with a couple Smiths here. I think the best way to go about this is to literally do some of these bigger takeaways, because we've essentially done a summary, if you will, of the chapter. You guys have read it. We know you've read it. So here's the thing. I was looking up Cirith Ungol, and I was looking up just some pictures, and I love the pictures that you put in the doc, because it really helped me kind of
that
see
was nice.
What this looks like, because they talk a lot about the, as you say, how it was built to keep people, Mordor pinned in,
right.
And then how that path will come down and the way it cuts across
Frodo
the land.
almost like falls off at the end.
Yeah.
Sam has to kind of hold him back and say, "Hey, there's a sheer cliff here, bud."
Right.
You pull down.
Right.
Watch out, fella. Yeah.
Right.
But I was looking up on the gateway, and I thought maybe it had a different name. If there was some indication that Cirith Ungol maybe was something that was called something else. So it says that it was let's see, built by men of Gondor after the War of the Last Alliance of elves and men.
Yep.
But during the War of the Ring, Frodo, Baggins, and Samwise, we know that they're there. But it says it is not known whether the pass and the tower were called Cirith Ungol. Wow. They don't actually.
And Ungol has the same root as Ungoliant, which makes me think of Shelob. Right?
Yes.
Is that
That's exactly right.
Who is an Ungoliant, right?
Yeah.
Sindarin meaning spider's cleft. Yeah.
And what does Cirith mean?
Yeah, I don't know. You have to look here and see. It's so cool, though, right?
It is cool.
So it's almost like the name was. It doesn't matter. It was more about the pass.
Yeah.
It was named after the pass versus
Definitely.
the tower being named. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
So you have the
because of the
stairs.
ancient-
You have the stairs of Cirith Ungol.
Yeah.
You have the tower of Cirith Ungol.
And okay, so that almost kind of pairs into with the character we just met. And Jeremy Key. I want to give you a shout out, man. We were talking about the Mouth of Sauron, and he had this great breakdown, and it was like the fact that he forgot his name juxtaposed to Tolkien. Like, what was Tolkien saying through that?
Yeah.
Because Tolkien is the guy who the name came first.
Right.
He never forgot the name. The name was the reason for the character.
Sure.
And you've got a character who can't even remember his own name.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was he saying there? And Jeremy, I still don't know. I feel like I could go off of meditation for a few months and maybe still have nothing, but just the idea is amazing. But so this tower is almost kind of like that same concept. What was its name?
What was its name?
Was it named because of the pass, or did it have some other name before? Was it changed? Did it forget its name?
What are the powers that are distorting or the memory of a name? Like, look at Gollum and losing himself, his identity.
Yeah.
And that's key and it's important.
Yeah, didn't he not
in
know his
work,
name
so
until Frodo said it again?
Yeah, because he hadn't heard it for so long, right?
it's crazy.
That's nuts.
And
crazy.
also,
There's
just
something. I was just talking to
your
teachers about this
identity.
the other day.
Yeah.
There's something about a name.
Yes,
So
there is.
teachers, I'm going to get on my high horse for a second.
Come on now.
If you
Roddy,
start,
brother.
if you start making fun of a kid's name
Oh man.
and talk about how it's spelled and say, well, your parents shouldn't have spelled it that way.
Oh jeez.
First of all, the kids didn't choose that.
Sure.
Second of all, what else do these kids have? It is
Yeah.
their identity.
True.
Yep.
It
That's
is
very true. They
their
don't have
name.
jobs yet. They don't have
Right.
Yeah.
This is, other than being identified with their family, which is something that kids identify with, they don't have an identity other than their
very
name.
true.
And so a name is so important. And I mean,
That's
you
really
think this
true.
was influenced by the Bible? Like, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah, right.
But like, it's the same kind of thing. In Hebrew, names mean something.
Sure.
And throughout the Old Testament, you see like names that have meanings.
And even the name for God, Yahweh.
Absolutely.
Right. I've heard people talk about that is the sound we make when we breathe.
Right. Yep.
And it's amazing. Yeah. So name being crucial to like who you are. I think that was part of what Jeremy was talking about too. That is just, and especially for Tolkien, was so key to your identity. But you're right, man. Like that is all you have. Like,
yeah.
Well,
It's a pet peeve of mine when I hear teachers make.
I understand that, man. I had a weird one too. Like no one could ever get my name right. Remember that? I would be called Lance, or I'd be called Zane or Wayne. No one understood Lane as my name.
That's so interesting
Because it's not a very common.
Right. It's not super
name,
common.
Right. So
yeah.
Well, I actually had the same, with Ezra.
Ezra,
I mean,
for
that
sure.
was like, I used to. I actually, when I was at preschool, told everybody my name was Paul, just so then my mom couldn't pick me up because they had to get the sheriff to verify that I was.
Are you
actually,
serious,
I'm
dude?
serious. Yeah,
Oh,
because
that's
they said no,
hilarious.
his name is Paul.
His middle name
and she's
is Paul.
like, I just dropped him off this morning, and different staff had come in. Like, no, he's
that's
telling all the kids.
hilarious,
names Paul. Yeah, it's
dude.
crazy. But on your point, though, one of the things that we do as teachers to really connect, the first week and a half, my co-teacher and I, all we do is focus on names. And there are goals.
amazing.
Our
That's great.
homework is to learn 130 some names.
Absolutely.
And it's such a challenge. We even do push-ups if we get it wrong, that type of thing.
Sure, yeah. I like
that. which is it's fun for the kids. But then when they hear us call them by name,
It
and
is.
think about that.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, it's
somebody
huge.
walks by, I mean,
Oh yeah. There's a difference between saying "Hey Ezra" versus "Hey man."
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
It's like I know you don't know my name.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have a conversation with somebody and
Yeah.
you're like, it's obvious they're trying to remember my name right now.
Yeah,
And
you know?
I've even gotten less. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm taking it way off. But I've even got less embarrassed to go, I don't remember your name. Can you tell me your name, please?
Yeah,
Like, I can't
absolutely.
remember.
Yeah,
Because
please, because I want to have that. Yeah,
I would rather feel embarrassed and ask them and
Yep.
know than to go on just like avoiding calling them a name because I don't know what their name is.
Right.
I have trepidations about uppers in the group. There are some people's
Yeah.
names I can't remember,
Yep.
or I try to remember a reference that I want to bring up in an episode, and I can't remember who said it, and I'm like, well, somebody said this. But you're right.
Yeah.
There's power to being called by your name.
yeah. And there's good, and there's evil. So the Cirith Ungol, evil.
Oh,
And think
yeah,
about that
yeah.
in the books. There's names, and then there's the twisted name.
Yeah.
That was when it was renamed.
Absolutely.
What was the Minas Morgul's original name? Minas Ethel.
Jeez.
Minas Ethel, right?
Yeah,
Ethel?
Minas Ethel.
So it's things like that,
and it still kept that Minas. Isn't that interesting?
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Which
that-
I'm
that
assuming
first-
means city. I don't know.
Probably.
Anyways,
Tolkien. I
one of
don't
your,
know.
I'm sure listeners know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go listen, guys.
Can I? So I know you guys are like into the book there, but in the
Yeah.
doc, just real quick, like
Yeah,
the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at
sorry,
these pictures.
That's the point you were on, and I totally derailed.
No. I want to make sure I know which one. Are these all images that you put in here of Cirith Ungol, different variations?
Yeah, actually, the one that I was blown away by.
What's the with the levels in the different?
Yeah, so the one, so there's a side by side, an Alan Lee painting, and then from the film. They relied heavily on, I think anyway, Alan Lee's illustration for the film. But I really liked. Robert Goldsmith's is cool too, but my favorite, I don't even know if this is John Howe's. It just looks like his art. It's the very bottom one.
Right.
I love how precarious it is.
Yeah.
I really can imagine you rushing off and falling off a cliff.
Wow, I
with
love
that
the bottom one, bottom left.
Yeah.
Oh my
Versus
gosh.
the one that's a little more nestled and has a more clearly defined wall, which was Alan Lee in the film. In the film, I don't have the feel. I have a feeling like it's kind of in a valley. It looks more like that to me than on the edge of something.
I agree. I thought that when I read it, I was like, man, this is very different than the picture that I got in the movie.
It's
which was, I mean,
precarious.
it's not bad. The picture in the movie, obviously,
No,
it's still very foreboding. But
Yeah.
I really like that bottom left. Man, we'll have to make sure that gets see your listeners so
yeah,
they can see it.
It was almost like a tongue of rock that shoots up too that you can imagine used to be part, and like there was an avalanche or some sort of earthquake where part of the earth fell.
Yeah.
And it looks distorted.
It does. Yeah.
Like the tower is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's just really neat, and I.
So I'm getting replaced. I'm getting replaced by my cousin.
I know.
You realize that?
This is wild.
Ezra's gonna stop calling me. He's gonna be like, Luke, do you want to sabotage me?
Already the amount of times that me and Lane have just like leaned back in our chairs.
Oh,
you look.
feeling?
I wish I could film. Like it's the same body language thing happening.
Isn't that the best feeling though? You like you
crazy.
I don't know. You all connect over a point, and you're like, all right, this is the reason.
Yeah.
This is the reason we have a book club. Like this is what it's all about.
Is there a way we can pause? I have to.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. You
You got to pee, don't you?
I have to pee, for the record.
See,
There it is.
it's a Smith thing. Ez can hold it the whole time.
I'm amazed by that because I just had.
It actually is amazing that I can't hold it much longer.
Where were we? Just emptying our bladders.
Just yeah.
had to empty
were-
those bladders.
My
I had to
gosh.
admit that I peed earlier and it was hard.
Dude, I bet
At the
Sam
microphone.
was wishing he could pee. He doesn't have
He
a drop
was,
in him,
and it's tough because he just wants water.
and there's none to be found.
Gee, but yeah,
Water,
really.
water, nowhere.
I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I would have peed myself. He's
Oh, I-
trembling at one point, and that's about
Oh.
it. I'm like, and then he like gets his courage about him, and I'm like, dude, I don't think I could have moved from the spot that he was in. When
I
he was,
felt sick just reading through it. Like I
It's
can't
hard.
imagine being there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And again, the feeling of the feelings that Tolkien probably already had that he was channeling, like you were saying, Lane.
Yeah.
Just he understood that feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
It's clear.
Definitely. And he was
Move
even
my
able.
Awana bookmark.
He was, he was able
Shouts
to
out.
convey it too, which is
Yes.
is big because I think a lot of people can feel emotions, and they're
Yeah.
either well, they know how painful it can be to relive those, right? So
Right.
so they're either afraid to share it because of that reason, or they're unable to articulate it because they're such big feelings. But he does a good job of, maybe it's because he's living through Sam, and it's not a real
Yeah.
place. Like Mordor isn't real.
And
I
you know,
shouldn't
and if
say
you think
that,
about
but-
it too, he had the story before he had started going to war,
Yeah.
and so he had
Yeah,
this in his
different
head.
Ideas, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think you have to imagine that it expanded so much as a result of his experience there. You know,
definitely.
so
Definitely.
anyway.
Ezzy, you want to lead us?
Here we go.
Like a wizard?
Yes.
Please.
So I mean, really, this all starts off. We mentioned that we're back to Sam, and
Okay, so just for everyone else,
Uh-huh.
I know you just haven't even finished a sentence. I'm doing it on the side, but just you got 2 words into. I'm like, when is Ez going to start reading audiobooks?
dude, I don't know. That'd be cool. That'd be fun.
You're just so
I'm down.
I don't know. I hear your voice.
I
I'm
wish
like,
I could
okay,
do if
I'm
I
ready
could
to
add
listen.
some of your guys' like voices that you do. I mean, that's like a Smith thing. I think. I don't
do
know.
a collab. We could do a collab.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll do the narration, like the whatever, and then you guys can
Look
Once
and
you
do
get
the
to
music.
Lane's Gollum is really impressive.
I said I wanted to whip out a new voice
Yeah.
for him this book, and I think I have it. So
Okay.
whenever Gollum reads in the future, or when we come to him,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
what's up, Precious? Yeah, man. Oh, mate, I'm never getting in there, boy.
Oi.
I'm not throwing everything in. Ain't no way, Precious is.
Could you
Excuse me.
imagine?
Get out of my way.
What?
What are you doing with that ring? Then or driven? While we're here, don't throw it in.
Tattoo me, Gandalf.
Tattoo me, please.
Where
Deep.
did that even come from?
I don't know, and I don't think literally nobody
me,
else
Gandalf.
understands
Tattoo
that.
me.
And that's the problem with us.
Well, it's fun for us. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was like,
He's like
tattoo
literally
me,
ping
Gandalf.
ponging back, like and forth in his
Yep.
with his eyes, and
Yep.
just like
Trying to
kind of-
figure out who's tattooing who. Is that what you're saying? Tattoo? What are you
Tattoo.
saying?
Yeah, we're
Gandalf.
literally saying tattoo me, Gandalf.
I think we had this idea that Frodo
What?
would ask Gandalf to tattoo him.
like in a,
Tattoo
but
me,
there were
Gandalf,
so
tattoo me.
it's why are you? And that's the dark places that I don't know if I can admit from childhood that you just go there. That's great.
We get in there,
And it's like, and it's funny because we would do these like joke techno songs, and that came up in a line. I think that's where it came from.
Frodo.
Tattoo
Such
me.
was Frodo.
Yeah, stuff like
Frodo.
that. Like, why would we say that? That's so. We were in
built-
seventh. Hey, everybody, we were in the seventh.
We were in
grade.
7th grade. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just learning how to put deodorant on. Way back.
I don't think I needed it yet. So
you
I
did
was-
always smell good. Do you remember that hat you wore?
it's not because I was just
39 and
a
holding.
late bloomer, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah.
39 and holding.
Yeah. Anyways.
39 and hold. Is that a real thing?
He was like 14.
Yeah, when people are about to turn 40, which we're
Right,
closer
yeah.
to now at
Yes.
this point. Wow.
Right. Wow.
You still
Lord.
have the hat?
No, it's at my parents.
You're-
There's
that's,
so much junk there,
Well,
man.
hey, we could go
Yeah,
find it.
I could.
The
There's
search
so
for
much
the
stuff
lost
that I
hat.
grew up with that I just left. So, anyways,
Yeah.
you know. So Ezra,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead. Lead us.
Well, it's not about me. It's Sam, our friend. We're back to Sam.
Yes.
So I don't know. Really, what happens in the beginning of this is he loses track of time. He's thinking back, actually, and it's interesting that Luke started this all off by taking us back because he's thinking back to the crossroad.
Right.
And he's wondering, like, how freaking long has it been?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So he's that's his mind.
And actually, it's funny what it did. It made me wonder too.
Yes, it did.
Because it's been a while since we read that. I was like, wait, how long has? Wait,
Yeah.
what exactly happened? I almost, if I don't have the 3-in-1 version, but if I did, I would have gone back to the end of.
I was doing it constantly
of book 4 and been like,
I was constantly
that's
doing
exactly
that.
what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So now you said, and I think Lane said this, like just at the start, like that he's a ring bearer.
Yeah.
You unintentionally said it, but
Sure.
you unexpectedly said it. He is though, right? I mean, he has the ring,
is, yeah.
and this is the thing. And we the powers. It's interesting that it gives Sam some power, and there is some advantage in using it, but there's also a lot of disadvantage, right? As soon as you cross over into Mordor, and that was sort of the big thing at the start of this, is he's determining, how and when to use it and everything, and it's I don't know. It was just kind of interesting to see him.
Right.
And you wonder too, since he's such a fresh and new user of the ring, is it like that it doesn't? How long does it take to affect him? And then is that effect rate like increased because you're so
Because of
freaking
where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
I
close
thought the
to-
same thing.
It was not. It was. I wrote ring numbs pain.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm looking at the sentence. It makes sense. He felt the burden and the weight be lifted. And he felt it fresh when he put on the ring, which is interesting. And it's interesting you say the
And
thing.
how much of that is the ring? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
they talk about the ring being a character too.
Yep. Oh my gosh, the capital R. Yeah.
Yeah. How much of that is the ring's influence versus? I mean, I guess it would be all of it because he's putting it on. But like, where the deception of Sauron? How much of that is worked through the ring and then like messed up in your own mind? Like, what? I guess the real distinction is because he has moments too where he's not sure why he says things,
Right,
Or
yeah.
why he puts the ring
Yeah.
on. Like, what is
And
that?
it happens
What is that?
in dark ways and it happens in light ways. Again, dark light.
does.
That
Yes, it
theme
does.
because of Galadriel's vial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
have the elven. They're like, where'd that come from? And it happens to the ring too. The interesting thing is, once he crosses over to Mordor, he knows that he can't put it on.
Yes.
He immediately knows. And I think maybe I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's fine because there's something inside of him.
Yes.
Right.
And I wrote this down too in my book. He's still making choices. The last chapter
Oh
of
my
The Two
gosh.
Towers is called The Choices of Master Samwise.
Yeah.
And he's, at some point it gets really dark and he's like, should I jump off the ledge? And it's like, there's so many choices that he's making.
Yep.
And he's like, no, I'm going to go for light. I'm going to actually help. I mean, I'm going to save my master because he finds out he's alive still.
Yep.
But he's still making choices. And most of the choices kind of revolve around what to do with Frodo and the ring. And it's,
And isn't it interesting how there's so I found another number 3 here too. Every time he has those thoughts of, not every time, but 3 major points. Again, I'm seeing 3 everywhere.
That's
Oh, you love that. Yeah.
He has three moments where he's brought to a kind of a crossroads where he's like, what am I supposed to do? And it's the thought of his master that gives him clarity.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
The love of his master, the love of Frodo. And I think what Tolkien's saying there too is that if you're having trouble seeing things clearly, think about your friends.
That's right.
Yeah.
Think of your friends. Think of the love of your friends. That's why when people are going through dark periods of time, we always say there's so many people that love you. There's so many people that need you in their lives. I mean, think about It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Best
And he
Christmas
gets
movie.
to see
Yeah.
his life, he gets to see what the world would be like, or the world around him anyway, had he never been born.
Yeah.
And the gift that is, because he's able to see that he was important. He did affect people's lives in a huge way. That entire families were different because of the person he was, and how that's true of all of us.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just the importance on, his motivating factor is the love of his friend.
Well, they actually there's a part before we. I'm going to just briefly hit it, and then we're going to jump back to this part where Sam's about to go in to the tower, where they think about. Tolkien gives us sort of a here's what's happening around at the same time that whole time frame, right? Here's what's happening there, and clearly like each party's kind of wondering, are they thinking about us? And then just the thought of friends it's there, so it's present, and it's
and it's how Sam wonders, are they even thinking about us, and how they're the only thing that they're, and we remember just seeing it, how often they thought, where is Frodo and Sam? Where are they now? What because it's funny, they do the same thing in those previous chapters. They go, man, it could not be Pippin could not be any worse than it is right now. Mary, I cannot believe the situation I'm in. And they go,
Yep.
but it's probably harder for my friend Frodo and Sam.
Wow.
It's their next. Yep.
Yeah.
So interesting that definitely connects.
Something just clicked with me for a second. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I
let me
love when
see
that
here.
happens. It's good, isn't it? Yeah.
We've got, there's a bit, I'm going to read some of this just to get us into this. So Sam looked up towards the orc tower, and suddenly, from its narrow windows, lights stared out like small red eyes. He wondered if they were some signal. His fear of the orcs, forgotten for a while in his wrath and desperation, now returned. So what's driving him on is he is thinking about them, as Lane said, like ravaging or doing something terrible to his master, and that's driving him on. And then he has a moment of clarity where he's like, oh, I'm here. There's freaking orcs around. Like holy cow. And he, at this point in time, he is using the ring still. So he is using the ring. Yeah. And so I think we should talk about that just a little bit, because it gives him, he can hear, but the hearing is distorted. He has sharpened hearing, which did clue him in the previous chapters that, his master was still alive. And that's what kind of...
you could hear them talking about that he was just...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you fool. He's like, he's getting on himself. But now he's hearing these sounds that sound like we've got some orc on orc action happening.
Orc on orc action.
That was bad.
Oh, dear.
I can't believe I said that. That was... I just wanted to throw this...
Orc on orc, Myrtle Beach version.
I'm trying to throw them off their game here.
What did I walk into?
Spring break, orc on orc.
Guys, it's 1-on-2 here. Oh, jeez.
Oh, dang, dude.
I can't. What is wrong with...
Stop.
All right. But
Stop.
Yeah.
But like there's the orcs are battling among themselves, and he hears that, and
this is pipe that's laid with two other hobbits.
Yeah,
way back at the beginning of the Two Towers.
That's
when Merry and Pippin are with the two orc factions that have captured them.
Yes,
and we realize that there's treachery, that there's a lack of allegiance to one another, that they don't even trust their own kind, just different factions of their own kind. So it's a surprise to Sam because he's not used to this, but to us, we're like, finally, finally, these orcs are going to be their own undoing,
right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. What I found really interesting and amazing about his experiences with the ring, it reminded me of people who struggle with addiction, and there are things that I even sometimes struggle with. And I'm like, oh man, I just go back to the same stuff. And when you are in the moments, especially with harder things, like things that are actually like really life damaging, in the moment when you give in, it feels clear, it feels great.
Yeah.
And then there's the harsh reality later.
Yeah.
And so you see, I thought of that when there's clarity for a little bit, and it's like, He does feel some clarity. He does kind of get something from the ring that's maybe seems positive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting though too, because it's also really complex. The ring is complex. It is evil, but it's also he does use it in some ways that it saves him.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, even though it's there are issues. I mean, it gets to the
you're spot on because one of the things, it's almost like
it gets them through the gate.
It's
the file. Never mind. But yeah.
It does when he's clutching when he's clutching it though, going up the stairs.
Yeah, yep,
even just its presence is sort of what wards off, or they. It's as if he were some great master wearing. Like this token itself.
That's something that does not get captured in the movies. How the orcs feel the ring's presence, and they're actually not cool with it. They're like actually really scared
to death.
Yeah.
So that is the interesting pull and push and pull, right, of the ring. Of
has
how
the
much
opposite
of that,
effect.
like if that is Sauron's intention, why?
See, in his own,
you know what I mean? Like, why would he want Sam to have it any longer than possible? Why wouldn't he want an orc immediately to kill Sam, take the ring, and get it back to him? You know what I'm saying? But maybe there's some, I don't know. Isn't that interesting? Where does the push and pull? Yeah. Like, where are the boundaries of this is what this is Sauron's intention, or this is actually good finding a way to use the ring against the master?
Yeah. So can I give me just a minute? Yeah. Here we go. Here's what I'm thinking. So the ring at first hooks him by giving him the tidbits of information. Oh, there's some good in this. And then right here I found where he said that he was glad for the ring. For here was yet another company of orc on the march, and so he's like, okay, like here they come, and then he says, or so at first he thought. Then suddenly he realizes that it's deceiving him, and he can actually hear up into the tower. There really is no orc.
Oh yeah, right.
Group marching by, and you start to realize, well, hold on a second. This thing that I thought was so good and helping me out is not great. So back to your addiction piece.
Yep.
And then there's a balance when he's on the stairs. I think, as you say, in the hand of Sauron. Yeah, that's what it's meant to do. It's almost got this unintended, like in the wrong hand, it's still going to have that same effect, that scare or that aura or whatever it is that frightens away the orcs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but he never intended it for it to fall into someone else's hand,
sure,
and for them to be able to use his power. So
I guess some of that too also like is touched on way earlier when is it like Gandalf or Aragorn that's talking about your will would have to be so strong in order because they were talking about let's use it to defeat Sauron.
Not possible.
And then how they're even Gandalf or I can't remember who says it, but they're saying your will, as strong as you think it is not enough. My will is not enough to bend it to to use good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll come up here in a second. Sam actually says the same thing. He has that thought.
Yeah.
All those all that. What is it? He's thinking that he could be Sam the Strong.
Samwise the Strong.
Yeah.
Page 880.
Right.
Yeah.
So because he gets
which
that.
is interesting compared to Samwise the Brave, isn't it? They're
It's
two different
not
things.
the same.
That's right.
Strong and brave are not the same thing.
Right.
It sounds similar, but and he thinks about his. It's like you can. Oh my gosh, you can see the way it tempts him.
Yeah.
Because he sees the gardens. That's
Yeah.
what does Sam love more than a garden? Other than a garden and his master.
Mr. Frodo.
Is
Yeah.
there anything else?
Yep.
You
No.
know, it's he wants
Rosie,
to do,
maybe.
and it's like, and with Boromir, it was the same kind of stuff. He
Save
wanted
his-
the control, the
country.
power over his country. Hey, Winnie. And like, yeah. So he used the ring. It's the same kind of thing with the addiction and temptation. It's like all those themes are intermingled, where it just makes you want the absolute best thing you can possibly get that matches your needs and interests.
Oh yeah.
And temperament. It's just it's complete literary brilliance from Tolkien.
And then what you had said earlier is that there was something stubborn. There was, I don't know what the wording was, but that something from the Shire that he went to that said, "You're smarter than this.
Don't put on the ring."
You're not
Yes.
this
There
large
was a Hobbit sense.
Yeah,
Hobbit sense that
Yes.
woke up.
And the unexpected, like you don't expect it to happen. And it's like right under Sauron's nose.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
very, oh man, so theological. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when you think of like the unexpected things that happen that end up being,
And it's the overlooked things, right?
Yep,
It's always the things
absolutely.
that you overlook, whether you're striving for to be as good as possible.
yep.
I think of the screw tape letters, right? Like
Yeah.
the things that evil tries to
Oh my
seduce
gosh.
us with are often overlooked by
Yep.
us or it's considered an oversight. And then the opposite, you know, the arrogance of Sauron to think that no one would ever dare walk, especially not this little insignificant race
hobbit.
of people
Yeah, right.
that I don't even, there's no way.
Yeah.
That they're the ones that are able
Yeah.
to bring it in. And,
The play on the pride.
Absolutely.
It's, whew.
Yeah. And on both sides, like we saw, the whole reason Sauron was able to come back was because of the pride of the Gondorians. That they thought there's
Yeah.
no way he'll ever come back in. We can lax our guards. We can move away from places like Cirith Ungol and Minas Morgul or Minas Ithil, and he won't ever take them over. And how those
Yeah.
end up being strongholds for him.
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Ithilien too. Ithilien was once the Great Garden, right? And then it became a battleground.
Right. So I'm gonna read just a little bit of this part we're talking about where Sam is having these wild fancies just a little bit, and there might be there's stuff I missed. We can come back to it, but
Yeah, it's fine.
really before this, he's just looking. He gets to the point, and there's a great image. I forget, this might have been the Alan Lee or one of the others, where he's looking out across and he's seeing like this is Mordor. That's really what's described here before he has those fancies, but. In this moment, he has his thought turned to the ring. There was no comfort there, only dread and danger. No sooner had he come in sight of Mount Doom, burning far away, than he was aware of a change in his burden. So now the ring, as you say, the capital R, is changing, and
That's right.
it's seeing what he's seeing, and it's also I think it's in tune. It knows what your intent is and what you plan to do, and it has a will of its own. So there's all of that. But it's as if so the ring's power grew and it became more fell, untamable, save by some mighty will. And that's where we talked, as you were just saying, like someone great would have to master it or whatever, have the will to control it.
And isn't that part of the deception too?
Yeah.
Because there's only one.
Absolutely.
There's only one will that is strong enough too. But it's like that whole idea that, well, maybe if your will is strong enough, that's a temptation in and of itself.
Yeah.
Well, is your will enough? You're a great wizard. Try it.
And you would, right. And the thing is, I don't even know that, because not that those individuals don't have great willpower.
No, not at all.
It's just that they're also, everything else has to connect to their motives and what they're in it for or what they would want to use it for. It was designed for a specific purpose.
One person.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I can't even think of something that is designed for one person to use. But it's like, it'd be like that, like a product that is, it's specific for your ear,
right?
Or it's made to fit your hand like a glove,
custom,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if I pick it up, I'm not going to be able to use it. If Luke picks it up, he can't use it the same way that you could.
Yeah, exactly.
To its fullest.
Yep.
Total customization.
Wow.
Right. And so Sam here has a choice, and he says this, he has two choices, right? He felt that he had from now on only two choices, to forbear the ring, though it would torment him, or to claim it and to challenge the power that sat in its dark hold beyond the valley of shadows. And can you imagine being hit, right? So what's first of all, very few people could resist this temptation, right?
Yep.
So that's fascinating.
Yeah. It is.
That Sam is able to do that.
It is.
And these wild fancies arose in his mind, and he saw Samwise the Strong, hero of the age, striding with a flaming sword across the darkened land, and armies flocking to his call as he marched to overthrow Barad-dûr, right?
Yep.
Like that's huge. So in his mind, he's got a flaming sword. Here he is, going to march into battle. But then he realizes that's not who he is.
Isn't it funny too how it plays to his whole infatuation with like bedtime stories and like the stories that Bilbo used to tell.
Yeah, and he says right after what you just read, Ezra, too. Sorry to kind of continue.
Yeah, no.
And then all the clouds rolled away, and the white sun shone. And his command, at his command, the Vale of Gorgoroth became a garden of flowers and trees, and brought forth fruit. He had only to put on the ring and claim it for his own.
Yeah.
And all this could be. And again, what is he tempted? It's not like an amazing amount of land and people to control. It's a garden.
Yeah.
Like the ring knows who it's with, which is so freaky.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I know, it's wild.
Wow. And then, so even just the idea that it had to have been, I guess it could be from him having put it on, but it could also be just the proximity that he's been by Frodo this whole time.
Right.
Like, is the ring observing him that way too?
Right.
Does it know his thoughts, his desires? Like when they went through Ithilien, did it hear him saying, wow, like all these different, remember how gardeny it was?
Absolutely.
How even the remnants,
yeah.
Here's how you know. So because you could say, all right, it's calling to Gollum because he was what he once had worn it and had been with it. But if you look at Boromir,
called to Boromir,
it called to him, and it
yes,
called to others.
You're right.
In the party.
That does prove that it
does.
Can,
it can reach out to
its
those
influence
individuals.
is not just
That's
So even though it's being possessed by someone at the time, so
still has a will of its own.
Right.
And you guys talked about this too, but it's his humility that pulls him out of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is one of the, like you said, as like who could resist this great temptation. Luke, you were saying that too, and that's the thing we love about Sam is he knows who he is. He might have the greatest sense of self of any character in this story. Maybe like next to like Aragorn and Gandalf, because he said it a million times. Oh, you old fool. You goofball,
right?
Samwise, what have you got yourself into? Like, that's a man or hobbit who knows himself. Like, this is not where I belong. This is what I've been thrust into, but I don't belong here. So it's that same kind of realization that pulls him out of this. Like, all I want is one small garden. What would I do with a land full of it? One small garden in my hands. Like that, I don't need something. So even even the way he prefers a garden is in a humble way. Yeah. One that he can tend himself, not that takes many, many people. And
that's exactly, his own hands. To use not the hands of others to command.
Yeah.
And that's who Sam is.
Yes. And you're right too, that the paragraph after what me and Ezra had just read, it's what snaps him out is it's the love for his master and his plain hobbitness, which you already referenced.
That's the second time it happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are 3 times.
I've got a big 3 here. So
I also think it's funny too. Where this is the time where it'd be great to be invisible.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Oh my gosh,
really served me well.
But God, this has got to be a trap of some kind. So,
wow.
All right, so let's move on here a little bit. Sam was about halfway down the path when out of the dark gateway into the red glow, there came 2 orcs running. They did not turn towards him. They were making for the main road. And I think this is where we get some more description just of where he's at.
He's trying to find a way in too, right? And he realizes like that gate is the only way. He thought maybe he could get in some other point with him, but the gate with the Watchers is his only way in.
It's nothing else.
Yeah,
going into the tower.
The Watchers too was something I actually had almost kind of I always
downplayed
knew about
in the film. Downplayed.
Yeah,
in the film.
totally.
He just walks right in.
I had forgotten about him before I reread it this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
big time.
It's huge. They're really the ones that set off the whole alarm, and it's
ringing the old doorbell.
And again,
exactly.
That's right.
That's basically what he did.
And again,
did they make a joke about that?
Yeah,
it's like I might as well rung the doorbell.
The bell's been rung. And then again, without that gift from Galadriel, he wouldn't have gotten in.
Yeah, no way. Yep.
Wouldn't have gotten in.
Light in dark places.
Jiminy Chris. So it saved them like what, 2 times now? 3 times now? I mean, it definitely did with Shelob. Without that, they would have been screwed. And then here it is, like he would not have gotten to his master had it not, and they wouldn't have gotten out either without that light.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple hobbits walking through here.
How is it though? So he hears, oh, there we are. Yeah, yeah, guys, it's Ezra and the Smiths here. All right, just so everyone
Ezra
knows.
And the Smiths.
But I was thinking about, like, I know he had the ring to listen and hear that the orcs were fighting, but he's also not only that, he had the knowledge. When you remember this, that what was it? Shagrat and Gorbag were like fighting and feuding, beforehand. So you put those two together, and you realize, oh yeah, they were interested in the mithril.
The shiny shirt.
Sure. And so he's starting to realize that that's probably what's going on up there. He said, of course, Frodo was wearing it, and they would find it. And so he's thinking, but then he's thinking, well, if they found it, like, are they is in the chaos of all that battle, are they going to kill my master? You know what I mean? Like,
he have such a good reasoning too. Like his ability to deduce things and think on his feet is so impressive. Like, and I wonder, I wonder how much of that like to think rationally and logically. I wonder how much of that comes from him being a gardener. I think a lot of times people who work with the earth, they're downplayed as like, simple.
Right.
Simple old Samwise.
Yep.
But like his ability to go, well, it's not this. If you think about gardeners and farmers, they're always problem solving.
Constantly.
Always. And so part of that is seen here where he's thinking like, okay, well, what is this noise?
Yeah.
All right. This sounds like there's trouble in there. Well, what did I learn from before? Okay. Well, it's probably these 2 things. Where would my master be? Like I'm the moron. I would walk in. I'd be like, "Are there dungeons somewhere?" He's got to be down in a dungeon somewhere. But he thinks to himself, he's got to be held up high in this tower. He's like, it's just the way he's able to solve all these problems and think in a way
while you're terrified.
While you're terrified, exactly.
He's so wise,
and while you have the influence of this ring too. Like he's being attacked by all these different things, and he's able to rise above and think, like in the same way that we have all these other characters who go, man, every choice I made. Every decision has gone amiss. We've talked about it again and again. Gandalf struggles with that. Aragorn struggles with that. Frodo struggles with that. Our 3 main decision makers. Yeah. And Samwise here never thinks that once and always makes the right decision.
That's right. And that's why these books are incredibly prolific and will never stop being relevant.
Yeah.
Because we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
When everybody can relate to like these decisions that are mounting, and you're like, I'm not sure if I made the right decision.
Yep.
I don't know if that was exactly perfect. Was that the right thing to say in that situation? Or and there's some people that maybe overly fixate, and it can become a problem. But it's something that everybody can relate to.
Sure.
And what I love about this too, man, I can't breathe. I'm like talking so much.
This is great. This is great.
Head rush, baby.
Another thing within this, like Lane, you were asking me during our break, what are the things that make me drawn to these chapters in the book so much? I think it's the inner workings of Sam's mind. And it's just coming together as you were saying these things. There's a paragraph that will be like totally dreary and dark. And then there's a paragraph that will have so much hope. Yeah. And really what Tolkien's doing is drawing us in Sam's mind where he's at in each paragraph.
Yeah.
It's like, and there are examples that, I don't know, I guess where
you're fine. Wherever you find, we can bounce back and forth. It doesn't matter.
But there's this a situation where, I've got it here. So it's like at some point, I think around the time that he's climbing up the tower, he's hearing these battles going on.
Yes.
It's like, here's the hope. I'm going to read the hope paragraph followed by the dread paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay. So hope first. Sam plodded on. He felt that he was on the right road, and his spirits had risen a great deal. He thrust the ring away and tightened his belt, so he put the ring away, Well, he said, if only they all take such a dislike to me and to my sting, this may turn out better than I hoped. And anyways, it looks like Shagrat, Gorbag, and company have already nearly done on the job for me. Except for that little frightened rat. I do believe there's nobody left alive in this place. So that's right after, they were afraid of him because they thought that he was this elf.
Yeah.
And then directly followed by this, is this paragraph. And with that, he stopped, brought up hard, as if he had hit his head against the stone wall. The full meaning of what he had said struck him like a blow. Nobody left alive. Whose had that been, that terrible... Oh, whose had been that horrible, dying shriek? Frodo, master, he cried, half sobbing. If they've killed you, what shall I do? Well, I'm coming at last, right to the top, to see what I must. So it's this hope paragraph that's like it's literally all hope.
Yeah.
And then it's followed by the most dark thought that he could have.
Yeah.
And I think that's how people think when they're in situations like that. What's the best thing that could happen? Okay, this is cool. Maybe I'm not so bad. And then what's the worst thing that could happen?
It is again a push and pull tug of war that happens in our own minds all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that's crazy. And then also the irony too that maybe the reason everything is good for him now is because no one is left alive, and the irony that is because like his master's dead.
Right.
Like the reason he was just thinking, hey, it's going to be pretty easy is because there's nobody here.
Yeah.
Like even Frodo.
Yeah, and it wasn't something that happened that made him stop. It was his mind. It was like he just was just like,
what he said sunk in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyways.
No, that's really neat, and it's odd too because we have all these, like, I don't know how to articulate this, which is often the way it is with me on this show.
Same here, brother.
Sam has those thoughts, but what are the orcs thinking right now too? Because sometimes we forget, like we have all that like insecurity or whatever's going on. We start thinking about everyone else, or what do they think, or what are they saying, or like they must be. Like, I'm so little and insignificant, but like what he did when he rang the doorbell and when he passed the Watchers was huge. And actually, when he announces, yes, that he's the elf warrior, he's loose and he's running around, that scared the daylights out of him.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, I don't know if he realizes they have no freaking clue that he just, it would have taken an elf.
Right.
It would have taken Glorfindel
exactly
to get through here.
Yeah.
And if Glorfindel's loose up in here, so I'm likening Sam on my boy Glorfindel.
Right. And he doesn't know it's a Silmaril or however you say that.
Yes.
And he just knows it's a file of
exactly.
light. Yeah.
Which is huge, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a power. And so, anyways, it's neat. It's interesting that he's having those thoughts and those struggles, the hope and then the dreariness. Mm-hmm. And then, if only he knew, right?
The file is a Silmaril?
Yeah.
Yes. You know that?
Yeah.
Mind blown, bro.
Yeah, I
did not know that.
Yeah.
Call me Samwise.
Shouts out. I didn't know until a friend of mine, or actually a guy that I just met recently who came to my church. He was like, we were talking about how in depth and amazing this is. And we were talking about Shelob's Lair. I just read that. Again, doing some back reading. And he was like, that's a Silmaril, right? And I was like, what?
Oh, my
And so, it is a Silmaril. Yeah. So
I did not know that until, it was when we started the book club, and I went back to the Silmarillion, and I was looking at all that stuff up. And I was like, where are they? What happened? I was like, what happened to all of them? And then I went on some search.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
And
I'm out, guys.
It's going to come full circle. In a few minutes, it'll come full circle again with the song. Just wait, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, as that took us way forward.
No, that's good, because actually that's sometimes what we need.
Somebody has to.
Because we get kind of dragged down. The only thing that's significant, and I can't even talk now, that we kind of, I just covered it, which was the Watchers. And that was the piece. So, because once he gets in there, as you say, he sees that death. He's having hope, and then he has sort of like this bad thought. But I'm just thinking to myself, he's scaring the daylights out of these guys and doesn't even know it.
That's right.
It's because they knew, and the whole bit we mentioned is that
so much sense now.
This was a place again that was supposed to pin in Mordor, but also to get in and out of here. It's a prison essentially. It's also kind of like he by shining that and by saying what he said, Sam's able to get past those Watchers, which were like the willpower. I mean, he did everything he could there, just inside of himself, to rush through and stuff. But there was a force he could not break through.
That's right.
Do we know where the other two are?
There is somebody's got that
theories?
lore out there. Somebody
and-
maybe on Discord
Sorry,
can help us.
I'm gonna do some homework.
There
I
is
know you are.
They're out
crazy.
there, man. Man, I don't remember. I think is one of them in a ring? Maybe one of the Elven rings.
Let me see, because I thought one was also just like
Because
lost
I always
to the
just
depths
thought it
of-
was the essence.
I bet one is
the
maybe
essence
lost.
of the star of Arendelle, the
That's
light,
correct.
and
Yeah.
I never, because I don't know the story of the Silmarils, other than that they're powerful. And what
Right.
we experienced in Baron and Luthien, where Baron goes and steals them, right from Morgoth's helm. Did you get two of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can't
And then
even
the
remember
third
all the
one
way.
is maybe lost.
Oh my
like I said.
gosh, dude!
And it's again theology.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't. So the whole thing.
there's 3 Silmarils too. I just want to
pursuing-
say that.
Trying to overcome
3. Yeah.
The Bible has a theme of flesh versus spirit.
Yep.
To overcome the flesh, we can't do that on our own.
Yeah.
We need, according to the Bible, we need the power of God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's the
Absolutely.
same. I think it's, again, Tolkien was definitely channeling theology here with,
Yeah.
they can't do it on their own. What do they have?
Yeah.
Well, they have this ancient, more powerful.
And even
force.
okay, I love that you said that, because I think
Yeah.
sometimes too. I don't know. I think we underestimate this whole thing. I think the focus on evil, we forget about the power of ethereal goodness,
Right.
That's also
Yeah.
working through, because the moments where he doesn't realize why he said Elbereth Gathoniel,
Right.
right?
Yep.
He doesn't even know why. And I think about the times in our lives where I might do something good, and I'm like, why? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like, how did that work its way through me when I wasn't necessarily feeling that way?
Right.
Or I might not have been even asking for any kind of help to deal with the situation, or the words to say, how they just can't, like, where did that come from? And then it's like, you stop and think about it. And
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know. I love that the relationship piece is there too, but how goodness can be so powerful that if you're willing and open, that it can work in the same way that evil can as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just,
Sure.
it's a beautiful thing.
Definitely.
Because then it's not all on us. Like, we realize
That's right.
that the goodness is I don't know that. Yeah.
And
it's a beautiful thing.
Evil is a weight that is so mounting. That's how are we going to overcome this?
Yeah.
Well, we need help outside of ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point.
Absolutely.
And that's anyways.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Big themes here.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, JRR.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So just so you guys know, like some of the
Jaren Tolkien.
yeah, the
Is that his name?
Yeah, Jaren Tolkien.
So the Silmarils, and we can get into more of this later. We'll do like a whole little side thing on this. So like
Cool.
like some of their essence like remained in the ocean, the earth, and the sky, and that's why you think of the star. And yeah,
okay.
right.
Okay.
It's a piece.
Yeah,
Sure.
right. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And so that's why. Yeah. And
Wow.
that's how some people kind of.
That's amazing.
That they're connected and
Okay.
things.
Beautiful.
There's some mystery still there,
like
but
that. I like that.
yeah. All right. Wow. So there we are back
Yes. Very
into
good.
the chapter.
Thanks, Silmaril, for getting us past the Watchers.
All right. Let's see. So yeah, they
I'll be watching you.
you yeah.
What if one of them just looked like Sting?
Wow.
That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah.
Every step you take in Mordor, babe, I'll be watching you. I'll be watching.
I've had my guitar this whole time.
It's great. I'm waiting for you just any time you want, just to
Sam is feeling blue, don't know what to do. We'll be watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Frodo's down for the count.
yeah.
Yeah, that down, not out. Don't know what to do. Got some choices to make. I don't know the take.
Yeah.
No.
You know, I like that it was blue because he has Sting out right now. Right?
Oh,
you're right.
layers.
Yeah, layers. He does,
Yes.
and so
Dang.
that's
Okay.
pretty cool. So that's another like
Very cool.
like elvish element to this, right?
True.
He's
Blue.
literally like an elvish warrior because
He
he's
honestly is.
has
Which
so
is kinda
many
what he's-
tokens.
Sam
Isn't that what he's
Brave.
always wanted to be too?
Yes.
He's been
Yes.
infatuated
Oh
with the
my
elves.
gosh.
His dream is coming to life.
Love Sam.
And to be put
so
into
much.
the tails, and he's writing his own tale right now. Now it's
Right.
not a lower back ponytail, but it's still a tail
That's
to be
right.
Well,
reckoned
not everybody
with.
can pull
It's
that
hard
off.
to pull off. Yeah.
It's hard to grow.
How
Alright.
did that hour go by in like 10 minutes?
It's
10
crazy.
seconds.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's time
I
travel.
love
man.
it. No, this is great.
It's
I've
time
got an
travel.
hour. I still have an hour that I can.
We got to
work
book
here,
into, don't we? We got to hurry. Okay.
But yeah,
But yeah.
so good.
So let's move on. Okay, there we go. A lot of so's.
So.
All right.
I don't speak Japanese.
Sam plodded on. He felt that he was on the right road, and his spirits had risen a good deal. He thrust the ring away and tightened his belt. Well, he said, if only they all take such a dislike to me and my sting. Okay, so he's moving forward, and he's looking around for Shagrat and Gorbag and the whole company and what's happening there. So now with that, though, he stopped. He was brought up hard as if he had hit his head against a stone wall. And is this what you had read
That's
before?
what I read. Yeah, this is the exact section I read. Yep.
All right, cool. So, and he's thinking about his mastery. Exactly. Let's see. Up he went. It was dark, save for occasional torch flaring at a turn or beside some opening that led into the higher levels of the tower. Sam tried to count the steps, but after 200, he lost his reckoning. And I didn't notice, like, man, you just keep going and go. It feels like he's always going up, and he's on the stair. And even when he gets to the very top, it's like we need a ladder to get up to where we have to.
And even like
get
the
into.
idea of like climbing up, and it's not getting any lighter.
Yeah, and
Continually dark.
It can be hard for us fully grown adult males.
I didn't even think about his size.
Climb.
Yes.
50 stairs.
Right.
Okay.
But there's 200, and he's a hobbit.
Right. He's a hobbit.
So hear me out.
And he's got Sting. He's got other stuff with him.
At one point, he says that he broke a sweat, but it wasn't until like the very end of this. I was like, man, dude, I am already like soaked, absolutely soaked.
Dude,
by this point.
You're soaked from the tips of your hair.
Yes.
And I'm thinking like ancient Gondorians, like with that full blood of Numenor. I mean, their steps might have been a little taller than even our steps.
Oh yeah.
Sam's
These
probably
were not
climbing
easy
over
stairs.
these, man. No, not at all.
Man,
You
Sam
might call him a stair master.
But at this point, he had climbed the stairs of Cirith Ungol, so I mean, he's buff.
Yeah,
he's a buff hobbit.
He's buff.
Honestly.
He's buff.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have very much nutrition though.
I bet his buttocks are just
Oh, dude, his
firm.
buttocks. But are those talking butts?
I think
so. Okay, anyways, cool.
Yeah.
Really mature here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you guys are great. That's right. You give me time to kind of see where
Fully
we're at
grown
here.
adults, as what you could say.
yeah.
As I said earlier.
So onward, here we are.
Yeah, upward.
So
Get us up those stairs.
there's a conversation that takes place at sort of the top of the stairs here, and it's I forget which one it is. One of the orcs who is up there talking to is it Gorbag, and he's saying that he won't go back. Is it Shagrat?
Shagrat was talking. Yeah.
Yeah, that he won't go back down the stairs. Right? Can you see? This is he's saying like.
That's right.
And this is where the fight kind of breaks out. Sam is there. He can hear what's going on. He can kind of see what's happening. He's crouched there. Let's see. Really, it just results in this fight between them.
Yeah.
More fighting, more backstabbing, people crawling around with daggers.
Yep.
And there's that. And a lot of it, too, is I think one side is kind of calling the other side a bunch of traitors because of the fighting that took place. And then this individual who is actually getting a little mouthy.
Snagga?
Yeah, with Shagrat, right? He's kind of saying, like, this is your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, this is you guys are the ones who started all of this. Like, I don't really... He's trying to be the captain orc still and tell him to go back down there, listen to my command.
Yeah.
But then he's
And remember,
saying,
these are two factions.
Yes, two factions,
so yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But he's saying to him, well, I mean, really, once they find out what you guys have done here, I don't need to listen to you. You're not going to be captain much longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean...
Snagga actually translates to slave, too.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, was that something that I learned from you guys? I feel like I just learned this.
I don't know.
Maybe it was when I was looking it up.
Yep. And then later he uses the word tark. Uses the word tark.
Oh, it's in the appendix. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yes.
It's because he used the word tark, and he's talking about an elf
Tolkien.
or I'm sorry, a
Man of Gondor.
Man of Gondor.
Yep. Translates to, and it's
Yep.
Quenya, which is, and it's Tarkillan is the full word, which means Man of Gondor, and it's like a slang for a Gondorian guy. Tark.
See, look at you with
Tark.
that's deep knowledge.
I just
One of
looked
the
it up. I
filthy
saw the
Tarks.
star.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Pretty
looked up in
cool.
the appendices.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the Orcish, I read that the other night too. The Orcish language, like you were saying, is just distorted.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they came up with these terms that would, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, they took a Quenya word, an Elvish word, and just kind of
Flipped
changed it
and made it their own evil thing.
Yep. Shagrat.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
What I find really not appealing, but really gripping about these scenes with what are their names again?
Shagrat.
Shagrat.
Yeah.
And Snagga.
Yeah.
Is the sheer violence that happens when one of them, which one kills the other? Dang. I'm moving ahead again.
out of the turret door, the smaller orc came flying. Behind him, Shagrat, a large orc with long arms that, as he ran crouching, reached to the ground, but one arm hung limp and seemed to be bleeding. The other hugged a large black bundle.
Yeah.
In the red glare, Sam, cowering behind the stair door, caught a glimpse of his evil face as it passed. Mm-hmm. It was scored by a bunch of claws, right? Smeared with blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Slaver drips from its protruding fangs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like
Yes.
they're very animal. They're
Yeah. And this is, you were talking about Stephen King earlier, Lane, when we were talking in the kitchen, and like this is the kind of stuff. I read The Dark Tower last year, and I haven't read any of his horror novels yet.
Yeah.
But he is.
Oh, he's so gruesome.
I mean, there's a lot of gruesome stuff, but this is the kind of stuff that influences guys like that.
Yeah.
Check out this paragraph. He says, Sam. Oh wait, no. Got you, Gorebag, he cried. Not quite dead, eh? Well, I'll finish my job now.
Yeah.
He sprang on the fallen body, stamped and trampled it in his fury,
Yeah.
stooping now and again to stab and slash it with his knife.
Yeah.
Satisfied at last, he
True.
threw back his head and let out a horrible gurgling yell of triumph. Then he licked his knife and
Oh
put
my
it between
gosh, I
his
didn't even
teeth.
catch all that.
And catching up to the bundle, he came loping toward the near door of the stairs.
Yeah, like if they showed that in the film, it would be R.
Sheer,
It has to be
and
rated
that's
R.
exactly what I wrote. I was
Yeah.
like, this is sheer violence.
Yeah, it is.
This is like, this would make children have nightmares for years.
And it also goes into that whole trait of defiling things.
Yes.
He's not just killing
Exactly.
this guy.
He's
maiming
stamping
him,
on the body.
He's disfiguring him.
Yes,
Yep.
it's
So
really
that
dark
he's-
to read. And you know why? These are not books for kids. Like they're why not go there?
Yeah.
Tolkien.
He
did
He did.
it. So
He got dark.
So really, it's Gorebag who he gets there. I
yes.
mean,
So-
and then,
Yeah, right.
so what happened to he's hunting
I don't remember, man.
Snaga, right? Out around the roof,
Yeah.
but then it's almost like as if he gets away.
Snaga does. He does get away.
Yeah.
Because
right?
that happens. Because remember, he listens and he hears the song, and he finds them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're again. That was my fault because I got ahead of your.
No.
But yeah, he kind of. He had escaped him or eluded him,
And he's the one that Sam stabs.
And I don't know why. Yes, that's correct.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my bad. I think it's Shagrat
No,
who did
that's
that.
good. Yeah.
But anyways, I just wanted to read that paragraph because it's so violent. It's like
Oh man, it is.
You can't
No,
not
I've-
read that kind of
I've,
thing. And
I've only read one of
be gripped.
I've only read one of Stephen King's. It's the Regulators.
oh, okay, I've
But
read that.
it's insanely like his
Yeah.
descriptions
Yeah.
are so gruesome.
Yeah.
And it's just it's like sheer infatuation with abomination that
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I read on. I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah, it's sometimes it can
like
be hard
his
to read.
mind. It is. It's
Yeah.
heavy stuff, but
It
it's
is.
like wow.
Yeah.
It's there's a sense of realism to it that you're like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I mean that's pretty real life. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I think that, but there's something that draws a reader to that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
definitely.
this is just, I have to see what happens to
Dark.
these characters.
Yeah.
There's so much, broodiness and
yeah.
scary stuff. that-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was reading this, I wasn't really paying attention to the orc names because I don't really care. Like I'm like, whatever.
right,
They're
yeah,
orcs. I hate them. Get them out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I'm realizing that, as you say, Shagrat is the one. He escapes. He actually runs down and he gets away because in an orc-like fashion, when Sam confronts him, because of the tokens, all the
Scatters.
tokens
Yeah,
that
thank you.
that Sam is wearing, boom, he darts by. So Sam has that choice, right? What do I do?
More
do
choices.
I chase after him or do I follow Snaga who went up
Yep.
into the turret and he thinks of Frodo, as you said, Lane.
Oh,
he
yeah.
thinks of Frodo, and
Yep.
that's what.
Again, is that the third time?
That's a fourth time.
Oh, okay.
Is that a
well,
fourth time?
You know,
Okay.
my theory is that's a whole.
Doggone
oh,
it.
dearie.
Oh boy.
No, I mean it was the third time. Yeah. But you're right, dude. So Shagrat has he's confronted with the idea of either keeping his treasure or fighting.
Yep.
Yep.
And he can't do both.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, and it says actually that away below, Shagrat went leaping down the stairs and went over the court and through the gate, bearing his precious burden. If Sam could have seen him and known the grief that his escape would bring, he might have quailed. Wow, that's interesting. So there's more there.
Yeah. Did he? I was wondering what that foreshadowing was too. Like,
Yeah,
what
I
does that mean?
kind of actually forget, to be honest.
Dang. Is there something Gollum related here? Because
Dude,
he
I actually-
obviously comes back, but I don't remember.
He's laying an egg.
Somebody
Quail.
search him up on the gateway. This is
Yeah. Help us.
Is that quail eggs?
quail eggs.
Quailing.
Is that what he's referenced?
Yes.
Oh, he has a flock of quail back in the Shire.
That's right.
And he's
That's my
making
new
sure-
band, actually. Flock of Quail.
Flock of quail.
Jeez.
And he was thinking, shit, I didn't get the eggs before I left. They're going to be bad by the time I get back.
Right. That's what he
You know how random things just pop in your head when you're about to die?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know. It happens all the time.
So
why I said
onward
I
and
need
upward here with the Smiths.
Sorry. Ezra and the Smiths.
what do you say? Hey, what are you saying about the Smiths, bro?
Nothing. I'm just saying that I'm taking you onward and upward.
What are you saying about our family?
I figure I'm the front man. I'm the front man of this if it's Ezra and the Smiths. All right.
For those
so we're
of
your backup
you,
dancers?
for those of you who cannot see, which is everybody literally listening, Lane just slammed. He's shut his book and slammed it down. He's looking at Ezra right now.
And Luke almost picked up his guitar in weapon fashion.
Wow. Somebody get me the Awana bookmark.
You're not going to want
Oh wow!
we're
Look
done
at
with
that.
you,
That
bro.
was some nice dark and hope, light.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, mixed in.
Like there was a lot of the Awana bookmark really helps
It's
me.
looking over you.
When I'm when I'm feeling really dark, I just look at that
to it.
Awana bookmark. Firmly Awana stands, led by the Lord's commands. What's next? Anyways,
I want to keep going on.
Hail Awana, marching for the truth. Hail Awana, something something youth. Building life on the word of God. Awana stands. Anyways,
I did not know there was a song.
oh, there are songs, brother.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah, you
okay.
know, I grew up
Yeah.
in a very sheltered, conservative place of the world, and
Yeah.
I still, as
Called
as
Ohio.
our listeners can probably tell, I still love theology, still love the spiritual things
What's wrong with that,
in
baby?
life. But that was a special time.
That was something.
Awana was a special time.
Different
There was
level.
probably an Awana
It was a
pledge.
different level. There was indeed.
There was.
There was a flag.
See, isn't that interesting?
Now,
Okay, let's get
I don't want to, and I really just don't want to get derailed. And I'm going to start saying things that I shouldn't. So, anyways,
so we're about to. We're
Thank you
we're
so much.
honestly.
Take us back, Ezra.
Hey, we're right here at a very
us to the
important
light.
part.
Yeah.
Actually, very good part because really, as he follows and he goes further on, further up. Okay, yeah, he kind of comes to a dead end. He's realizing that the doors are locked, and he really just sits down. You know, he puts his head down, and just kind of sits there. And I think a song comes on him, right?
So it says, and then suddenly new strength rose in him, and his voice rang out while words of his own came unbidden to fit the simple tune. So he's thinking about a Shire song at this point.
Yeah.
Sorry. In western lands beneath the sun, the flowers may rise in spring. The trees may bud, the waters run, the merry finches sing. Or there may be 'tis cloudless night, and swaying beaches bare the elven stars as jewels white amidst their branching hair. Though here at journey's end I lie in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep, above all shadows rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
I can you, man, if that song were sung in the land of darkness, I just see hope all around.
I was just gonna say, can I just say that not only was it beautifully sung, but like the tune had a hopefulness to it.
Yes. Oh,
I mean, like, holy cow, dude! Remember when you and I used to sing the songs?
just joke around and
Like, that is next level stuff.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
So, yeah.
So actually, this kind of relates to. Do you mind if I share the story of
Yes.
writing the melody to that?
I'm shutting my book.
So, what happened was I was reading this on Wednesday night, and this just for the listeners a couple days ago, and I it brought me back because, and I read the books just a year and a half ago.
When he heard you singing.
That's so cute. I'll definitely play for her if I have time before we leave.
Yeah.
But I was brought back to when I read The Hobbit as a 6th grader, or maybe 5th, like it was young. I remember I read those books, and in my head there were melodies as the songs were and I was like, what are the
See, that's amazing.
And I would imagine, and it kind of brought me back to that in a way. But what was amazing about this whole moment in the book, that is so powerful, and this is, I think, I love Howard Shore. I love the music of the movies. Obviously, I think that he captured all the emotions, and so he did such a good job. But, but what I think is so amazing about Tolkien and his writing in music is his understanding of what music really is. And he had a deep knowledge of it that I didn't understand as fully until I reread this, because really what he's doing is using music to channel memories that are positive. And that's something that's done now. I took a music psychology this past course for my past summer for a grad school course, and they talk about the different ways that music is used to channel emotion, or as kind of emotional, different emotional theories of why music is there. There's a professor at Ohio State, David something, I can't remember his last name now, dang. But we were talking about the different ways that music channels emotion, and a few of the ways are here. One is episodic memory, where when you hear a tune, you are sometimes brought back to when you first heard that tune.
Oh yeah.
And that happens here in this scene.
That's why music has nostalgia to
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And then there are also there are feelings of hope, that there are other parts of the theory that this David Huron is his name, I think. And there are different elements of this theory that talk about the positive emotions that are associated with certain music and why that's the case. And so there's a lot of psychology wrapped up in this whole scene when he thinks about the song.
Wow.
And I was on my couch reading that, and I thought about that class, and I was like, man, this is, his brain is so immersed in a dark place that he has to go somewhere, and it's not even just the file. It's he has to go to a place that only music can take him, which is, as you guys with a background in teaching music, and I love music. It's not something that I always am doing or something, but I typically am kind of thinking musically a lot of times, and so this it connected with me so much.
You've always been that way.
This connected with me so much.
I think about us as kids, going back to your identity and stuff. You used to put on karaoke concerts for our entire family, and I was your sound guy. Not really. I just stood there. And I was like, I can't sing like this young man, and that's always been a part of you. That's amazing. So that's another lens to see these books through too, because think about the world was sung into creation, right?
Right. Yeah.
It has to do with music.
So, and then some of the themes of the song are also, because there's some of them are Shire things that he heard, but some of them are, as it says, Sam's own words. Elven stars as Jules White. Wow. What does he have in his hand?
Yeah, exactly.
The file. Amidst the branching hair, he's thinking about elves that are just so hopeful. Beyond, and then he even makes this connection. He's beyond all towers, strong and high. He's the lyrics that he's singing here are making him think. And look at all the capitalized words. Stars is capitalized. Sun is capitalized. Day is capitalized. And so he's, he's thinking about these themes that are so, it's again channeling such bright things. This speaks to the power of music. This is, again, I was saying I got sidetracked. The caveat earlier that about Howard Shore. I love the music, but I don't think the films quite got this. You didn't quite get the level of musicality that these characters had.
Definitely not.
No. You have it some with the pubs and they're singing and that's cool.
It's the drinking songs that they.
But there's not and you have it some with some of the beautiful singing and certain the scene actually, one place that you do get it is the scene with you guys just read this chapter.
Or
no, when Pippin sings.
Oh yeah.
With Denethor.
Yeah.
I cried during that scene in the movie. That's one of the only scenes I cried during, and it's because it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's where you get a glimpse of it. But there's only a few, and there's so many parts in the book that are musical, and that's it's amazing. I feel like there probably could be an episode on what are
Would you want to do that?
I feel like that takes a deep. I think that I could try. I do think that that's
no, because you're sitting here talking, and I'm thinking we could have the same kind of episode that we had with Jim on language that we use with music.
Yeah. So what I would have to do, I would have to look through.
Oh, you can do it. I mean, we don't have to do it next week, but yes, let's do it.
But yeah, eventually, like you said, you said in a different episode, like this is going to be a years-long journey.
Because everything, and everything you just said there too blew my mind. Because I don't think of it. I don't think of I don't read Lord of the Rings in a musical lens. That's not the way my mind works. That's not the way they think. I'm not a musician.
Right.
And so it's interesting to think of it through those, and I know that or I guess through the ears of a musician, right? Through the lens of a musician. And I know that we have many, many uppers who would be able to relate to that. They would be able to have conversations with that because they are musicians themselves. And it would just be a whole nother level that, oh my gosh, I mean, I'm blown away. Because I don't look at the lyrics and dissect them like you just did. Like all those capitalized words are bright things.
And to get back to
that's
when we were talking in our music psych class about these different ways that music is used in our brains, there's this whole debate in psychology of the brain versus the mind and where does the mind come from. Again, this leads me back to think about theology. I can't stop thinking about like, where did this come from? Music is tied to spirituality. And I'm not somebody that necessarily loves worship songs and stuff like that as in my faith. But I do think that there's somewhere. Where did that come from?
Like, why do we sing?
Why do we sing?
There's no inherently I mean, evolution, whatever, naturalistic.
There is. there are explanations.
Okay.
But the whole thing is, in those classes, we would get in debates about like, well, but really though, is that actually? Can that actually answer these questions that we have about where music came from? Okay. And it's because you're right in the sense that like, what's the survival value of music?
Yeah. Well, I mean, guess that's true because animals sing.
Yeah.
You know, as a form of communication. You got whales, you have
that's
birds.
where something comes from. But again, there's emotion there. And there's so many things there. And there are all these psychologists disagree about where it comes from and what the actual branch on. And, I'm not trying to push my beliefs on people and say like, I believe in, some form of evolution. I think that happens. Yeah. But like, I do think that there's something deeper there that questions that are unanswered by just, those like, quickly just drawing it to this is just for survival. There's probably some bigger things here.
Yeah, sure.
There's probably something bigger
100%.
that music does for us spiritually. And so that's, again, I'm like thinking all of those things. It's like midnight and I write the song. I was just like, and the melody. But I was like, again, I was singing the melody in my head and then I was just like, I brought it up my guitar. I was like, I wonder if I could just, and it was pretty easy. But that's the thing too about Tolkien. I think that a lot of these songs probably had some sort of, in my mind, when I read them, I think of Scottish folk songs. I think of English folk songs and some of the different things that he would have been exposed to, which is it's not very challenging to do when you're an American because most of our folk music comes from that tradition.
Yeah, sure, true. Yeah.
So anyways, it's...
we got another episode just lined up.
Honestly, and I want it. I just have to hit this one more time because it's in this, and I listened to the song on the way down here. I was like, all right, cool, it's a good song. So we got this. I mean, I'm like, it's got whatever. It's cool. It's motivating. It's uplifting. Whatever. But no, it's like, though here at Journey's End, I lie in darkness, buried deep. But beyond all of that, beyond this darkness, and beyond where I can see, there's still the sun. The stars are shining.
Yep.
Day is out there. I mean, it's like...
There's a powerful scene that I think it might be only in the extended edition. I can't remember, but they're in Mordor. They're getting ready to ascend Mount Doom, and the clouds part for just a second, and Sam... Maybe this is where it's kind of alluded to in the films. Sam sees the stars.
Yeah.
Frodo doesn't. Sam's looking up, and he sees the stars. He says, look, Mr. Frodo, there's light and beauty up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so
that's good.
Maybe that's the connection here. This is what he's
to get it here. Yeah,
he's kind of remembering that, and I can't even remember honestly if that happens in the books or not.
Wow.
It feels like a film thing only. Like an allusion to this kind of stuff.
Yep.
But wow,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Wow, dude.
So huge. Yeah, we'll have to set that up then for sure.
I think that would be only a beautiful adventure.
We could even play some of our old songs.
Yeah,
play some of our own songs and then get some commentary.
Would you mind going back too and even composing
we could do some
songs that were I don't want to put you on the spot. Throughout the entire story. Throughout the entire story, going back and finding ones that you like that you could put to music. And
Oh,
you could
definitely.
Sing throughout.
I mean, if you guys want, I don't know what the legality is and with the rights and stuff, but we
own all
mind.
of it. We're
in
bed with the Tolkien estate. Don't worry about it.
But I would
pander them.
I could record any of this stuff. It's,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool.
What's cool about this? I've never been good at lyrics, and I always like melody, and so and like writing the actual music. And so what's cool about this is like
the lyrics are
I've been
written for
trying
you.
to write some songs recently. I'm like, man, I'm just kind of stuck. And then again the other night, it was like, man, this is cool. And then since then, I haven't been able to put the guitar down. I'm like, constantly just like writing stuff, and it's cool because like sometimes in the same way that writers have like a muse, there's something with musicians that sometimes you just have to have something to spark stuff.
Yeah, inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Spring.
yeah, right.
Awesome.
Anyways,
Okay.
Alrighty. So with all that beautiful music and that singing, right? I forget his name. Snaga.
yeah, something like that.
Something like
get
that.
a snack.
Frickin' get a
Snaga, yeah.
Snag him up.
Snaga. It's actually Snaga.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He thinks it's Frodo.
Yeah.
He thinks it's Frodo,
Same.
and he's kind of basically telling him to pipe down or whatever, and the door opens, and then because they're locked, and really this is why Sam sits down. So he's able then to kind of dart in there, do his thing, get up, get the ladder. I mean, so you see. Like he sneaks up there, and really he's still a little bit hesitant and fearful. But it's when he hears the crack of the whip against Frodo, and he hears that he's trying to, here's another warning or whatever to keep it down or whatever, and that gives him this sort of like, don't you touch him, don't you touch him, and then up the ladder he goes. I mean, it happens very fast. It's sort of like one moment he's listening, he realizes that there's a ladder. Next thing you know, he's literally up there. And he's taking him on. It's
and he does describe it as like that heat of hatred and anger that comes in his heart.
Yeah,
and we saw that previously with Shelob, right? That heat of and that anger. Like I love the way he describes it. I don't know because you read it out of context and go, oh my gosh, that's a terrible thing. But you read it here and you're like, no, that's okay to have that sometimes.
Oh man,
like when it's to defend the people that you love from something terrible. Anger and hatred, they almost kind of have their place in my mind, but
well, yeah.
I won't.
One cool thing about, sorry to interrupt, Lane. One cool thing about your point about this Snaga thinking that it's Frodo. When Frodo is talking to Sam for the first time, he's like, "I wasn't dreaming after all."
Yeah,
when I heard that singing down below, and I tried to answer.
Oh yeah,
was it you?
Yes.
And so he was singing with him.
Yeah.
So he was probably just he heard some parts, so he was like, I want to sing too.
And he would,
which is like it's so cool.
That is cool.
Like he wasn't just he did hear Frodo, but he also obviously Sam was louder. But
no,
anyways,
but you're right because there was an answer. That's
crazy.
Sam actually kind of thought was that, and then so did Snaga, and he gets up and kind of comes and checks it out. Yeah, yeah. So. But as he's up there, Sam eventually he leaps across the floor. Right, he's got Sting in his hand, and he cuts his arm off, doesn't he? I mean, he kind of like,
oh dear.
yeah, right? Does
his hand or whatever?
Something's cut off here.
And then he trips and he falls through the trap door or whatever, the bundle.
Yeah,
right. So the orc falls out, and that's really how he dies, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So and he realizes that he's up there with Frodo, and finally is able to.
Their
able to
reunion
get to his
is
master.
so incredible. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just sort of a rush that he has, and you can only imagine like just what he's feeling there. I mean, he's been trying, he's been hearing all. The thing that Frodo is still alive and he's being spoke to, and you've got a chance to get to him. You're going to be filled with all sorts of whatever, Hobbit energy, juice, whatever, and like so he takes on this orc, and then he's able to comfort his master, who is laying there naked, who's in filthy rags.
Jeez.
I mean, I don't know if you guys want to start a Lord of the Rings podcast, but I think it's time.
Huh.
You think so?
I think that you kind of touched on a name idea there, and that might be ripe for the picking.
Oh, really?
But we got to get the name right.
Okay. Yeah.
We've got to find a moniker that fits us perfectly. I'm going to put forth a nomination. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
The He Was Naked podcast.
Ooh. You on the fly.
Oh dear.
And I just kind of think it fits, or I was going to say fits like a glove, but if you're naked, you ain't wearing gloves.
No,
well, you might be. I don't
no.
know what you're doing, but
no, that would not be true nakedness.
maybe a single stroke podcast.
Okay.
Oh.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Implication of genius there, which I would never imply, but you could if you wanted.
For sure.
Yeah, Luke, you got anything there, Luke?
Peeking through the trap door.
Oh.
Question mark?
Hello.
Wow.
Podcast.
He said it, not me. That's pretty good. Okay. I like it. Ez, you got any ideas there?
Yeah, the Shag What podcast?
Wow.
The Shag What podcast?
This is just the darkness of this chapter, I think, is really kind of infiltrating us a little bit. What about a high, shrill cry? The podcast.
I mean, that sounds pretty. What are we talking about there?
Hey, yeah, well, I don't know. It could be kind of, it depends on the mood you're in.
Yeah. I think Ezra and the Smiths.
Ezra and the Smiths sounds. That's
Ezra
gotta
and the Smiths.
actually like legitimately, right? That's got to be on a T-shirt, right? I mean, we've got to do Ezra and the Smiths. I mean,
And we could put Elton John's glasses on you.
oh, dude,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Oh my
Beautiful.
gosh,
That's cool.
Well, we're getting close, but
Yes.
maybe one of these days.
right.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
we'll
think so.
see. Yeah, maybe.
All right. Oh, okay. So now we have to figure out what to do with Frodo. I mean,
Yeah.
like he's there.
What do you
Let's
do with
get him
Frodo?
some clothes. Let's get some food. And really, I felt like this is just a chance for them to kind of come together. And as you said, Luke, he's kind of coming out of this dream, like dream state, right? And he's not drowsy. He even has his arm up, like he's shielding himself from another blow, possibly. So it's just
We
it's
saw that he
heart-wrenching.
had like a whip wound. Did we talk
Yes,
about that too?
yes.
That he had been whipped by Snaga or yeah.
Yeah. Right. Sam felt that he could sit like that in endless happiness. So he's got Frodo in his arms.
Yeah.
He's got his master there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And yeah. So
Yeah, very telling too that they're in this terrible place.
Yep.
Frodo doesn't even have any clothes on, and he's thinking,
Yeah.
I could stay here for a long time.
That's
So-
right.
And obviously, just I'm sure he's flooded with the emotion that he'd never thought he'd see.
Yeah.
Not only see Frodo alive again, but to be able to hold him and be close to him and talk to him, almost singing with him.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So there's all of that. There's this coming back, and he's actually asking Sam. I mean, just like Sam started this chapter with like a recollection of like how long has it been since there's a time sort of like is distorted, and Frodo's wondering what happened to me. Last thing I remember is being hit, and that orcs were all around me. They were going through my stuff. They questioned me. They sat up here and they questioned me, and everything. So that was. It's a nightmare, right? I mean, it's an absolute nightmare. They stripped me of everything. Then these two great brutes came and they questioned me. So, but they are gone. All right, those brutes are gone now, and so we got to figure out what to do. He wonders if he can walk. Is he able to walk? And so he actually allows Frodo to kind of walk around up there a little bit and get his bearings. And they devise this plan, right? I mean, they're in Mordor. So when in Mordor, I mean... Dressed like a Mordorian?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But he's naked. I mean, what you got to do? Like, his clothes are taken.
Yeah.
He's got to put clothes on.
Yeah, and
You
then
don't want to offend any orcs out
Do you
there.
think there were some people secretly wishing like for an Elijah Wood nude scene?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, duh. I mean,
Right?
I mean,
You were, right?
Probably.
I
like
was.
A part of me. Yeah. It's like a 14-year-old boy.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. Like, he's a stud, so how do I compare? That's probably how I would have thought of it.
Right.
Kind of a deal.
God. I mean, well, here's the line. You can't go walking in the Black Land and not put your skin, Mr. Frodo. I don't know.
didn't even mean that. I didn't even mean like the...
I don't know.
Oh, I just realized how that could be taken.
Yeah. Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
so lame.
So, anyways. It's all right, guys. This is why we haven't started the Lord of the Rings podcast yet. So.
Yeah, it's good that it's kind of a work in the making.
Yeah. Let me see here. Moving on,
I'm just
if that's okay.
I'm along for the ride here.
Yeah, it's a ride for sure.
But these movies could have been rated R. I think that's
They could have been. Yeah,
clear.
that's what that's what I meant by that.
Yeah, definitely.
So now, let's talk about. So while he's still naked, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
He's overwhelmed because he sits down for a second. And he thinks the quest is over.
Yeah.
The quest is
Exactly.
over.
Because by
There's that
everything,
dread coming back.
Yeah.
and by everything, he thinks that the ring also, is in their possession.
We're done
that
for.
It was taken. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that Sam just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's crazy too because you get this moment almost like we had a great debate, great discussion about the whole Frodo Bilbo scene where the ring is near Bilbo and he wants it back.
Yeah.
And what happens, the takeover that happens there, it happens here to Frodo. And it's so
Absolutely.
much better here to read it because
I think so too.
Because
Yeah.
Frodo realizes what happens and he goes, he apologizes.
Yeah.
There's I don't know, it just seems it's nice to know that Frodo realized what happened, because sometimes I don't always get that in the film, like that they realized really what is going on.
Well, and Frodo in the films is just portrayed as like just all having kind of been taken hold by it, you know. And here it's like so much more conflicted than that. And you're right. I think that also with Bilbo, he was influenced by the ring for so many more years. Yeah. So I think that probably again shows the power of the ring's draw and how evil it really is.
Right.
How addicting and hooking it is.
And also how Bilbo's attempts at getting it back were a little more sly, I guess, when he was like, "Oh, I'll take it to Mordor, no problem."
Yep. Yeah, that was really.
It wasn't a lashing out kind of, and that also might have to do with them being in Mordor. Maybe that there's more of a
intensity.
To this interaction, but it is interesting.
Well, and it starts off a little bit less intense, than it just keeps escalating. Even Sam's sort of like, "Yeah, sure, you can have it back. It's fine."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Don't come between me and my quest here." And then he freaks out.
It moves Sam to tears. Like when he's apologizing, he wipes his tears away.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's all right,
man.
Mr. Frodo.
You're right.
But I think, and again, he's not crying because he was called a thief or anything. He's realizing, because again, Sam's perceptive.
Oh man, the sentence.
Right.
There was Sam kneeling before him, his face wrung with pain, as if he had been stabbed in the heart.
Yeah.
Tears welled from his eyes.
Like he would never dream to take this from him, to steal it from him.
Yeah, and I also think it's like, I do think Sam realizes the power of the ring.
Sure.
I think he sees
he already has
over Frodo.
Right.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, oh my gosh. So anyways, but Vince, so that gets back into, Frodo's around his neck, and he is now back to being our ring bearer. And they set up a little password here, which is neat, right? So they set up this password for, like, he puts the ladder down and he's going to go get like clothes and stuff. Yeah. Which is cool. So he's like, he comes up with a password that no orc would say. They're not gonna utter that word.
It's an elven word,
right?
Yeah. So, he sits there. He's thinking, and then so Sam goes and he grabs them some orcish clothing. That's it was short for an orc, but too long for Frodo. But it kind of works,
and really heavy too.
Yeah. And I thought, again, Sam being Samwise here, thinks, I can't leave my clothes here, because one of his things was, we'll both dress up as orcs. We'll take their clothing and some mail, and we'll get out of here. We're in Mordor. We're gonna dress like them. But he says, no, like, I can't leave my stuff here too, or they're gonna realize that there's more than one of us.
Again, just his savvy and his smarts.
If they don't know how many spies there are, maybe if one were killed, I never thought about this, but it just hit me, like, maybe you would want to pass on the burden or whatever, take it up, and you would have to continue the quest.
Sure.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't want to know, like, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Sam's thinking that, or if it's subconscious. Probably not, because that would never cross his mind. But it's just sort of like, wow, you don't want them to see your garb there, and then be on the lookout for both of them.
It's brilliant. The whole thing. Yeah.
So, all right, they've got their. Really, we've only got a few more. The rest of this is that they kind of. Once they've got their garb on, they're looking for food, and it's amazing that Sam forgot to eat.
Yeah,
he totally forgets.
He
forgets that he's like has there's no hunger really. It's just this love for his master is driving him on, and he realizes Frodo has been fed more recently.
Yeah, he's been better fed, and drank than him. Yeah,
he says that there is food here. And they're going to figure it out. He also finds the lembas bread that's been crumbled and all that kind of stuff. So he gathers up the pieces of that. So he has just enough there. They'll get some water along the way, maybe, but they got to get out of here. I mean, Sam's the doorbell was rung, and also when he goes out, I don't know if it's now or later, but he senses the Nazgul flying overhead and things, right? So that was kind of crazy. And so it's like that's got to kind of push you on to sit, like,
give you some urgency.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So let's see what else happens here at the end of this. So again passing the Watchers again.
Yeah, right.
Ooh.
Right. That was
that's toward the end, right?
Yes,
the very end.
And it's Frodo who experiences it, right? He's like, there's some devilry here, but it's Sam who says this. Frodo realizes, like, whoa, dude, I'm gonna faint. I don't know what's coming over me.
What's happening?
And Sam's like, got you covered. I already know where it is.
Got you, boss.
Frodo. Right. It's the gate. There's some devilry here, but I got through, and I'm going to get out. It can't be more dangerous than before. Now, for it. So he uses again the light of Arendil.
Yep.
He says Gathoniel, Elbereth. Sam cried for why he did not know. His thoughts sprang back suddenly, all the way back, man.
Yep.
All the way back to the elves in the Shire, Gildor, and the song that drove away the Black Riders in the trees.
Yeah.
And then it's Frodo who we
says
actually
it
get
too.
this in the film, which is sweet when he uses the light. He says, "Aya Elenian and Kalima," and just I don't know. It's so cool.
Hearing those words, like to shout it out or cried out in this land of darkness
Sure.
has gotta be epic. I mean,
It's
that's
kinda
just,
like, it's
right?
kind of like when Gandalf speaks black speech in Rivendell.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Right,
such a
it's flipping
contrast.
it
Yeah,
on
that's a flip of
flipping
that.
it on its
Oh,
head, right?
man, that's true.
And it's how
Wow.
Elrond says like those words have never been spoken,
It's just so much.
Right?
It's so cool.
and it's almost kind of another way that we talked about all this redemption that comes
Yep.
along the way and cleansing things, and how we saw Aragorn and his company do it as they went. They put the head back on the king. Right, left the flowers.
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
So it's
Yeah.
almost like they're coming through. And we
Yeah.
talked about how his heraldry would announce when he was coming. The king of Gondor
Yes.
is here. These lands are being reclaimed. It's almost
Yeah.
like they're reclaiming part of this by speaking of, just by the pure fact
Yeah.
of speaking Elvish. And this, if you think about it, this tower's been cleared.
And you have I
been
love
just-
that theme here, and that's again why I love this section of the book so much. Is
Yeah.
because there's so much darkness. There's so much darkness, and now we're finally getting more prolonged hope.
Yeah.
But there's still unanswered questions, and there's still darkness.
And it ends on a cliffhanger.
The last paragraph
Yep.
is like, there was a crack as the Watchers fell. The keystone of the arch crashed almost. Oh, the Watchers didn't fall. The arch. The keystone of the arch crashed almost on their heels, and the wall above crumbled and fell in ruin. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Only by a hair did they escape.
Yep.
A bell clanged, and from the Watchers there went up a high and dreadful wail. For far up above in the darkness it was answered. Out of the black sky there came dropping like a bolt of winged shape, rending the clouds with a ghastly shriek.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, man.
And that's like it's the foreshadowing for the next
Yep.
chapter when they deal with the Nazgul. It's
Yep.
it's incredible.
It is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're right though. That we just had a paragraph of hope, and then here we
Yep.
are with more to deal with, more to try.
Yeah, and there's hope and dread in the same paragraph there. It's
True.
like
True.
you've got it's brilliant.
Oh boy.
I'm fired up.
How do you come back from that, man?
I'm sweaty.
I am too. My pits
whole
are
body.
drenched.
Oh man, this is what happens.
Oh man,
when
you guys!
couple
I didn't
Smiths-
get to say this. Thank you so much for having me on. This has
dude.
been
Oh, dude.
a serious honor.
You have time for strawberries and cream, and your
Yeah,
part of your
definitely.
story. Okay, because I know you got to go.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
we got 20 over 20 minutes.
Okay, good. We can fit
good.
that in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Ladies, says, can we
Yeah,
fit
right.
that in?
And,
like,
it's not like it's. I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. It's
we're right here at the
it's
end.
cool.
We're right
You know,
here at the end.
on time
well,
is on time.
I
you know
think
what
what would be kind of cool.
That's
I don't-
correct.
sh-
Or early's on time.
Is-
I don't
late
know. It
is-
doesn't matter.
Is it would
I'm
it be
always late.
dangerous to would it be dangerous for Luke to tell his Tolkien tale? Is that gonna? I mean, how long is that? A 20-minute?
See, what we'll have to do is we'll have to crop. I'll just have to. You'll put noose on me and save some of that for the music episode.
And we can. I was going to say since it's pretty clear at some point I'll come back and
Yeah.
be with you guys. So I don't
is
think
that-
we necessarily.
Can we
have
save
to.
it? Then maybe like just kind of like tease it a little bit
Sure,
here.
we
I mean,
could.
because we've teased it the whole episode.
Well,
right?
and I think really for me, I guess with a Tolkien tale, I think that there's so many. I don't know. I don't have like.
a man of many tales, and I thought that was just me.
Yeah. So I feel like it could be. Yeah.
Yes. No, I hear you. Yeah. And I
Absolutely.
kind of want that. That's I really want
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
you guys have so much history together, and it's just like it's
we do.
cool.
And I guess the only thing
to
I
get
wanted to
that.
say is that I was in reflecting over the last couple weeks, getting ready for this week, knowing that Luke was going to be here. We hadn't seen. We don't. It's just like what life happens.
Yeah,
we hadn't
life.
seen each other for a
We were
while.
just talking about that,
But
yeah.
I was again the chapter is very fitting because I was telling Sarah, I was like, Luke was really my first Lord of the Rings companion.
Yep.
I saw the Fellowship with a couple of my uncles and a couple of my cousins, Preston and Bryn, and my dad. But my first companion in Middle Earth was Luke.
yeah.
And I think
remember-
about how for years and years and years, even now, we can fall back into, and it's like he is a very Samwise character, 100%.
Yeah.
And for years, he was one of my only dear and close friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
because I didn't have much luck at school all the time. I didn't always
you've
have
talked about
a
that,
great
yes.
group of friends, but I could always count on Luke no matter whether I was very kind or not, or I was great. Like I could always count on him to be there for me. He was my secret brother, and a huge reflection of Samwise the Brave. And so again, just fitting that this chapter goes along with that, and I think there's a reason he's drawn to these two characters.
I mean, totally likewise, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I was immediately, again, think about the music can bring you back to certain times. How this story can bring me back to thinking about the summers we had. Like, so when I say summers we had, like I would go spend a week at his house. And he would come hang out with me. And we always had certain things that we did. I mean, I remember, I can't remember the restaurant, but those vanilla milkshakes we'd go walk down and get.
Oh yeah, baby.
What was
the corner.
The corner
had
the
in
best
Caldwell.
vanilla milkshakes.
We just
in the
walked
world.
down North
We'd go to the
Street.
Fireman's Festival.
Oh yeah.
We would go out to a little place that was lovingly called Africa. It was where strip mining
after
had
like
happened.
Sahara, it basically looked to us
like
in
Savannah.
our like basically like a sort of barren because it used to be a strip mine.
Yeah.
And so it was like this huge plain that was usually yellow, and so we yeah.
But it was just amazing, and we would go on just all these adventures and I don't know. It makes me. I think of when I think of Frodo and Sam out on an adventure. I can easily swap us in there.
Yeah,
and
definitely. Oh
it
my gosh,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say this just from like where I'm sitting here, and just so folks listening, like this is what I love. I love hearing the stories and hearing. That's what the best part. We've always said Bywater Post, hearing stories about how you got into it. What were those events like? Because I can see it. I can feel that. We each can kind of relate to those stories in a way, and it's neat to kind of hear you guys just telling tales and talking about things that happened. And you're like, man, those were different times. Those were good times, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the cool thing about that too is that sort of evolved in our friendship as cousins. Like when we would do that kind of stuff, like for the first few summers that we spent time together for a prolonged period of time, it was like we were obsessed with baseball cards and like sports. And like we would just play baseball every day. And then that continued, but then there was also, we started to branch off in our interests more. And I remember seeing...
But it was interesting how they were aligned too.
Definitely.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And they
so easily you could grow apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they did typically, at least somewhat line up. And so like, I remember seeing the poster for Fellowship of the Ring and looking at that. And I think I was maybe I had a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Like, and you said, this is going to be a cool movie, I bet. And I was like, I wonder. And I don't even know what it is. I don't even ever heard of this. Yeah. And then, we watched the movies separately and then just realized separately we loved them. And we were like, man, this is incredible. Yeah. And, so, I mean, there's a lot of, I think it's the cool thing about it is that our history with our love of Tolkien kind of just evolved the same way that our friendship did.
Absolutely.
And, but with everything, I was just telling Az earlier, like, you had taken it and like really, I mean, had grasped it. And I still have a lot of different interests, but it's still one I would say, for me, it hasn't become at the same level of like something that I'm always going to, that it might be for Lane, but at the same time, it's still something that there's nothing that tops it at the same time.
Yeah. I would think that, I don't know that I see it that I maybe just a different, I think it's a different relationship possibly.
Right. I mean,
the way that you've brought up things in the last 25 minutes that a level I could never get to. A level I could never get to. Yeah. Like the intimacy of music is huge. Your ability to pick up a guitar and sing a song from a story in here. Like that's massive. It's massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's really, really cool. I got these little boogers walking in here. Hey, little hobbits.
Winnie.
Hey, little hobbit
So
Smiths.
cute. The Smiths.
I mean, it is. There's so much. We could probably talk for a long time about.
Well, I think we will. I think that's what we'll do.
So we'll cork that wine bottle and come back to it.
Yes.
I do have a presentation though. Should I do it before or after strawberries with cream?
It's up to you. Yeah.
Well, so I just thought it's fitting. We're starting the second half of Return of the King.
Yeah.
I had a weird cryptic text message to you earlier this week where I said, "Do you like hats?"
Yeah.
So that was probably pretty weird.
Oh man.
But and then I remembered that one of the most iconic hats I've ever seen in my life was a 39 and Holden trucker hat that you had way back in the day. And it's not the same kind of epic level, but I thought this would be fitting, something you can wear. This being your favorite, maybe not your favorite. Well, maybe your favorite book, right?
Oh, I would say it's top 10,
Okay.
Top 5.
So I thought that I would present this to you, my friend. A Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, dad hat.
That is awesome. That is actually really cool.
What?
I actually ordered a few of these.
This is so cool.
It was billed as being a, and it's a gold embroidered on a navy blue cap. It was billed as being a like a cast and crew hat, but I think there's a copyright on it. This is 2004, so I think it was more like a promo thing for after the films came out. But it's incredibly comfortable, and how cool that you can wear a Lord of the Rings hat, right?
Love it.
I mean, isn't that great?
I'm gonna embrace it.
Good.
This is incredible.
Good.
Thank you so much.
I want you to promise to take it on at least one hike.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Oh, I will
right.
wear it on many hikes.
Okay. Good.
I don't want to mess it up too much though. That's the thing.
But that's the beauty of it, though. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Oh, your book. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it's in
right.
action.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
get some sweat in that thing. Get it
That's
dirty.
a good point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
hobbits
But
break
then
it in.
sometimes, I just gotta make sure I keep at least parts of it.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Don't let it disintegrate.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point, I'll retire this.
Yeah.
this
Put it up
copy.
on a shelf and just look at it.
For what you listeners can't see, my copy of The Lord of the Rings that I brought is the one that I read in childhood, and it's super old.
Well, they can see it because I'm going to take a picture of it.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, man, this was
yeah.
awesome, guys. I
bro.
appreciate, and obviously, man, I wish that I could had time to tell my own stories, Lane, because likewise, in terms of your Frodo, I mean, you were and when thinking about our childhood, thinking about those moments, there was always somebody. I had friends that were close, but there was always somebody I could go back to, and I think the driven quality of Lane, like I was saying earlier, with him taking something like Lord of the Rings and really exploring it through things like this, speaks to that element of his temperament. It's just that he's willing to go through with stuff and to continue to follow through in a similar way to Mr. Frodo. So,
well, that's amazing. Wow, I've never. That's quite a compliment. I've only gotten compliments like that from this guy over here and my wife.
And those are
You're
just
talking about Gandalf over here,
and they're just pretend. I'm just fake,
and my dad. Yeah, I know you're all lying, but
Right.
it
We're
makes
just
me feel
messing,
good.
right.
So it's wonderful. But no,
Yeah.
dude, I appreciate
been
that.
an honor.
I mean, it is fitting to be sitting here with the two of you. I mean, like, Ezra.
I'm
Ezra's
so
friendship
glad.
has
Can I
been-
say? I gotta say,
And
this,
you had never met before,
I am
right?
so
No, we hadn't. Yeah.
glad because I've heard about Luke and I've heard about the story. I've heard the stories,
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is awesome, and this is honestly why I think like Luke being a cousin, being a secret brother,
Right.
Yeah.
and being like we gotta have Luke back on.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Because
gonna
I'm telling you right now, I there are so many things that just. It's crazy that this one wasn't filmed because people would see the mannerisms between you two. They're literally the same, and I can't believe it. It's hysterical to me the way they lean back
so
the
funny.
same. They say the same
I
thing.
didn't
Like
think about
the when they
I don't think about it
when
either.
something kind of pops into their mind, they're just like, God, dude, like you both. People will hear it too. I
Are
guarantee
you exhausted right now too?
I think I will be soon.
Yeah, because I am too.
Yeah, usually and we're both like that too, where it's like I think we're both probably introverted. Like in terms of how we recharge.
Yep.
But we love people still. Like
Yep.
so it's anyways, it's pretty interesting.
It's one of the worst marriages of
I
personalities.
know.
isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
it's strange.
I love being around people, but I
but
get
I have
exhausted.
to I have to take
gotta
time.
recharge.
Yeah.
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 So it's just cool. This is
Yeah.
great. We got to have Luke back on more,
We will.
and his wife Emily. It's gonna be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So strawberries with cream, real quick.
Yes,
Do you
real
wanna-
quick,
you wanna
and then
go over
we'll-
that? And then
yep.
we'll
Yeah,
wrap her
call
up.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Get you out of the Shire.
Here we go.
Oh, am I
Strawberries
supposed to read it? Yeah.
Oh no, I got it. I have it
sorry,
right
yeah.
here. So if you had to rely on one friend to bail you out,
Yeah.
who would it be and why? You get one real friend and one fictional friend. Yeah. So
Get you out of the tower, right?
I'm gonna go first while you guys look this up and get into
Yeah.
it. I actually say I don't know that I can pick one friend. I have 3 really good friends who I know I could count on. I could hit them up and I could say, hey guys, I'm in a pickle. It's like my buddy Tom, who I've known for years.
Yeah.
My buddy Matt and Lane, and those are my. It's I don't know. Some people have like a really large friend group and a lot of different people or whatever. And I've got a lot of friends. And I'm happy for that or whatever.
Right.
And it's cool. But you do have those people who are like really close and you come down like all the time. And like my dad's always you're the friends that he checks on. You know what I'm saying? I've
Right.
told you this.
Absolutely.
And so I know I could hit those guys up and it'd be they would make fun of me for whatever it is that I needed bailing out for, but they would come bail me out, and they would never
Lane
let
would
me
make fun of you? That's
right?
weird.
They would never
Never.
let me forget it either. They would be like, "Remember that time when you had that?" And I would be like, "Oh God, Jesus, this is why I didn't."
Yeah.
That's also why you have to vary the friends and who
Exactly.
bail you out.
Oh, yeah.
'cause you don't want
There's-
the whole one guy with all the knowledge.
No.
No,
Exactly.
No,
All the
that's
blackmail.
Too much power.
If I had to pick a fictional character though, a fictional friend. Could this be just any character? It could just be anybody.
Yeah, I think anybody, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, People know that I like Star Wars and like these different, you know,
I'm thinking,
fandoms or whatever. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Obi-Wan Kenobi would be yours.
I know you're thinking that, but I'm
Ben.
Clark Kent.
Oh, the original fandom
Yeah.
that you don't delve enough.
I don't talk about much. Because I just saw the other day Tom Welling showed up on the
new whatever show.
Oh god, the new Flash show, the multiverse or whatever. Tom Welling shows back up and reprises his role as Clark Kent. And I thought, man, that man got me through high school and college. You know, that guy was there for me.
On the back of your Northside Hustler jersey, I believe it said Kal-El.
Kal-El. It did. And someone pointed that out in the group. You posted that, and it made me think like that was one of my early on. My mom showed me the originals, and I'm like, dude, like freaking Clark Kent's my buddy. Yeah, man. Like, you know, I would be Jimmy Olsen. I'd be Jimmy Olsen, and he'd be, you know, Clark. Like, what's up? Help me out. Bail me out here, man.
That's massive.
So I don't know.
That's massive. I like that. I like that one a lot. That's really good. Lukey, you want to go next? Or you want me to go?
Sure. I would say real. I gotta say my wife, guys.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Smart man.
She's so
well. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Know,
it's awesome.
I think that the thing we were realizing this. We've been married for a long time. We got married pretty young.
Yeah.
And I realized, we. I was 22.
I was in
21.
New Zealand when they.
That's right.
When they got married.
And so the cool thing about our marriage, though, is that we've learned so much from each other in the last 8-9 years. Like, it has been. I feel like I did not think that I would ever be somebody that loves to cook.
Yeah.
But I do now.
Yeah.
And it's because it's something that she really values, and we do that together.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's just things like I think that my world opened up in so many different ways because of my relationship with her. So I would say definitely, and I know that she would obviously. There have been so many times that like I've been like, man, I'm so confused. I'm frustrated about this thing at my work or like this thing at whatever else I'm doing, and she'll just bring in a perspective that's so helpful. Yeah. So I would say her. And then for fictional. There's like I told Lane earlier, I read The Dark Tower last year. There's a character named Eddie Dean.
Wow.
He's kind of like, man, how do I describe him? He's so much like, actually, you're so much like this guy, this character. He's really like forthright. He's like super engaged, like always like in the middle of stuff, and like, but he's always funny. He's like really charismatic. He's really goofy.
Wow.
He's super goofy. He overcomes a lot throughout the books, and
I gotta read these books, man.
He's like,
he's
so lovable.
He's selling me on him.
But he's like probably, and he's somebody that is easy to like. He's the kind of person, kind of like Pippin. Like you just feel like he has the fiction or the comic relief.
Yeah.
And there's constantly, he's cracking jokes. So I was thinking about like. When I really love it when I'm in a situation where there's a friend there that's like kind of goofy and fun, but also a badass who can like bail me out when I need that. Yeah, that's definitely who Eddie is. So
nice.
Maybe we'll have to do maybe when things die down in 15 years, we'll go to the Dark Tower and do that as a part of it.
Just pick it up and read it here and there. Like it's easy to read. So
I do like his writing style.
Yeah.
My real one. Okay, so Ezra got me thinking more. I mean, you got to have a committee. I think. Like I think about you would come bail me out. You would come bail me out.
Yeah,
my dad would move the world to save me for something.
Do anything for him.
Jimmy Nichols. I mean, Eric Meeks, Bobby Ray, my rugby guys. But like the cherry on top would have to be Sarah. I mean, she's already. I know if there's anything. She would just find a way to make it happen. She'd find a way to make it happen to save me somehow, and she already has in like so many ways. But she's the best. I would trust anyone to be helped by her, and because she seeks it out. She's always thinking about how she can help people. She doesn't think about herself enough. That's her one weakness is she's like too selfless.
That's sweet.
So Sarah would be the one to bail me out. And fictional actually has to do with Sarah as well. It's her invisible friend Carol Betty from childhood.
Is this a joke?
No,
this is funny.
I read that. I was like, what? Who is
she
that?
had three fictionalized best friends, invisible best friends. Carol Juke, Carol Jeek, and Carol Betty.
Oh my god. Jeez.
And I'm going with Carol Betty because she's just different enough. Okay. Carol Jeek, Carol Juke. I don't believe them. I don't trust them.
They're twins.
You guys are made for each other.
They're into some crap. They're into some crap together. But Carol Betty, she knows what it's like to be on her own.
Right.
She'll come find me. She'll save me. I will find you, Carol Betty.
I guess I would trust.
Is that what it sounds like?
Hello, I will find you. I'm Carol Betty.
Oh,
not like the other Carols.
I promise.
I always had this fascination though. I'm like, Sarah, why were they all named Carol? She was like, I don't know. Carol Jeek, Carol Juke, and Carol Betty.
You can trust somebody named Carol. Yeah,
You got to.
So, all right, with that, let's wrap this up
man,
here.
yeah.
So share the load. We're gonna have some more stuff. We had a great conversation beforehand on Discord with our patrons, and so it was with Luke. We will share some of that there on Patreon. Check us out on Instagram. I just did a bunch of book photos earlier, actually.
did,
so
man.
I was having fun with that.
Today even.
That's when I came here.
Yeah.
I was
taking
them up and
it was
taking
great.
pictures.
I took them all over Lane's.
You need to just take
textures
those
and
with
stuff. Well,
I know you said
gonna
you
put them in
bought
the
them
studio
for me, but yeah, one of these years we'll get the studio
once we
done.
get the studio done. So we got Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. You guys check that out. It's gonna be there's some good stuff there for you. We will have Luke back, and whether it's on the main feed, it will be on the main feed, but I'm sure we'll have additional content that will be there as well. And lots of good stuff. The newsletter is coming back in January. Jen Shepard's been working on that and has some fun stuff planned.
Yeah.
So there's that. If you'd like to send us anything, you can send it to the Shire, P.O. Box 96, Amanda O 43102. That's how you say it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
So some Fortnite farewells. Want to thank you, Luke Smith, for being with us. It's amazing to have you, secret brother. I love you, man. Honored just to be your friend, let alone your cousin. So
I'm honored to be here, man.
I appreciate it.
This is awesome.
As always, I want to thank my partner, Ezra Kirk.
Hey.
The man, the myth, the legend. I love you so much, man.
Love you too, brother.
I want to do a quick shout out to Mike Charles and his wife Kelly.
Yeah.
We're thinking about you. We love you. Remember that we're here to see it through with you, and all of you. We've had a lot of people talking about just kind of rough times they've been going through. There's a real winter, I think that's going around within our group. And it's funny how it's not funny. It's
ironic.
I think it's fitting how those things kind of seem to happen all at once to people.
Yep.
So if you need anything from us, reach out to us, even if it's just a shout out. If we didn't specifically say anything about you, just know that we see all your posts. We're thinking about you. We wish you well.
We love you.
Yeah,
really
we love you, and we're here for you. So
Yep.
just remember that. We're here to see it through together. So we want to thank you for storming the tower with us. Don't you feel strong? Don't you feel mighty? Next time, we'll venture into the land of shadow. That is Chapter 2.
Yes. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a shadow fax.
We'll see you in a fortnight, and remember, Fertile lives!
That was so good.
That's so fun.
Oh my gosh. That is wild.
In western lands beneath the sun, the flowers may rise in spring. The trees may bud, the waters run, the merry finches sing. Or there may be 'tis cloudless night, and swaying beaches bare the elven stars as jewels white amidst their branching hair. Though here at journey's end I lie in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep, above all shadows rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell.